What is going on, everybody? We're back at it with another stream, another night. Man, we got a lot to talk about tonight. We got some side topics to talk about, some serious talk. But did you guys feel that any chance? Something's shaking in the background. I'm like, he's doing jumping jacks, and I told him to stop doing jumping jacks. And asked him, like, dude,
Oh boy.
20.2 acres earthquake. I felt all the way from Pennsylvania to New York. Didn't I tell you to stop doing that shit?
If you call me Congo of the Myth, I will agree with that. If you call me Bear Paw, I will agree with that because people are calling me Gorilla or Bear. Those are two similar to me. But for earthquake, I'm telling you, it ain't gonna fit me. When you see me in person, you be like, "Oh shit, you don't look like earthquake." I say, "Duh, I've been trying to tell you." But it's
Honestly,
fine.
like a side note for everybody that hasn't seen the show, me and him actually been trying to actually meet in person one day.
Yeah, we
Um,
did.
yeah, that's and it's not been working too well for us.
I have my own personal issue. It just so much I'm dealing with right now. I'm trying my best just to keep
I know,
pushing
dude. I
one
know.
day at a
I didn't mean
time.
it like
I
that.
know.
Yeah.
It's
So,
fine.
did you see the fight yesterday? Any chance?
Please don't remind me. I felt like it was a setup along the way, and I felt like the rules and I was like, oh.
It wasn't
And
the
because
rules
no,
they were fighting.
I'll make it real clear. It because of what was saw. Mayweather protege want to whoop his ass real bad.
Hmm.
If you know who Mayweather protege is, that guy
I
is
know who
not
he
a
is.
joke. He is not a joke. And I was saying to myself, we need a real, actual, active boxer who can go in a ring and did him far worse than Anthony Joshua did with Ngannou. And I get what Paul Bennett was talking about. He did not want to watch it because it felt like we talked about it the last show
Hmm.
about people from different arts squaring off. But no disrespect to Mr. Paul Bennett, this have been a thing that been going on through ancient time before the complete modernization of today's world. Okay, if you want to go back in
So
history, let's
here's
let's go
where
back in history. China. How many nations when China conquered China for the longest? We had the British, we had the French, we had the American, and we had the Dutch. What were the thing they were telling the Chinese people? They were calling the sick men, and they were weak. They brought their best fighter, either they were in fencing, either were in boxing. Yes, this is something that unless you are a student to combat sport, legitimately speaking, talk about going down to the root when it all started and where they went to. They took their art over to China, mind you. They took their best boxer and their best boxer got son
mhm.
by the best fighter they had in China.
See, here's what people don't understand with boxing right now, and this is why I think was a stunt. Boxing is been going downhill ever since UFC came out. I have nothing against boxing. I think boxing is a very good sport, a beautiful
Hmm.
sport, an awesome
Hmm.
sport. But ever since
Hmm.
UFC came out, nobody really talks about boxing like they used to.
No, the first original UFC was totally barbaric, but the thing that people didn't understand it, the way UFC was back then was
The UFC
how
one.
the original one, it was similar to where how the martial art was. There was no weight class. The best of your own kind will compete with the best of another.
Mhm.
Need to be underground. This is why I tell people need to really do their homework. And the thing about American society, we
So
do
I'm
their
gonna go even further. Second, I'm gonna cut you off. I'm going even further before UFC one. So a lot of people don't know Ultimate Fighter started from a tournament called the my brain just froze on me. The War Martial Art Tournament. When
I remember that one.
the War Martial Art Tournament, the company that ran it, I can't remember the name of the company. My life depended on it. Went out of business because they couldn't afford it anymore. Because that's a lot
Hmm.
of money to put a big ass tournament together.
And they were
You
competing
know,
with Pride PC.
yeah, and put it with them together every year, like yearly and monthly. Actually, you have every turn at every state or every county to like the point system, pretty much, to so you can compete in the great. Well, like that was our WrestleMania for martial artists.
pretty much.
Well, when when Dana White bought that company, he rebranded everything, and and that's where he's a good promoter. I got to give Brandon Dana White credit. I don't
Yeah,
think
but you give him credit, but the if you see the really introduction video of the Ultimate Fighter champion, he took it after whereby people could not take it anymore because the Roy Gracie of those time wasn't going to work under Dana White because at one point it was getting too out of hand. People couldn't stomach it, but outside, and it was kind of like it's funny that they couldn't stomach it, but this was the similar thing they were doing in Pride PC in Japan.
see, this is where I'm going back to boxing again. It's like even last night's boxing, the women's match, for example, there were a lot of dirty blows on one side.
I saw it. I saw it.
Headbutting. I think she bit her at one point. I felt,
And they put to be a
but
light and put to be a lights in fight. I want to know it was a joke.
that the
But
second fight was that was I think I felt that was the main event. It was better fight than Tyson and
I
Paul.
know. But here's the joke. Those two women will not try that with Kalisa's shield. Kalisa's shield will wipe the floor out of both of them.
Yeah. And I do understand they're trying to have I think that's why I feel this event last night
Mm-hmm.
was a stunt.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, let's talk about Netflix for a second here. Before we get into the boxing thing, I'm
Oh
like,
boy.
I don't want to get into the topic yet. I'm waiting for Paul. He's running a little late, so I just don't want to kill a little time till he gets in here.
No problem.
So let's talk about Netflix. I don't know about you, but I had
Oh, you
buffering.
too?
Yeah,
Let me
everybody
let
did.
me let me tell you why that happened. Let me explain to everybody. Remember when we had the pandemic when everybody was home and everybody was logging onto Netflix at the same time? See what happened, and when that happened, y'all just make me look like when y'all going to effing wake up. Here, the problem in America, our infrastructure cannot support the amount of load when everybody trying to watch one particular event at the same exact time, and your infrastructure is legitimately out of date. It's not up to the time where it should be. And the reason why that happened, when you have good for nothing old foggy need to drop, delete, politician need to get out of the way. That's why that happened. Yeah, the buffers are paying the ad, but imagine you be on the highway, the I-95, and y'all all going on the same exact highway trying to go to one direction. You think y'all gonna move fast? No.
You know what's funny about that last night? I don't know if you realize this. So I had issues. Everybody was complaining having issues through their PCs or their TVs. But if you watched it through your phone, it didn't matter if you're on Wi-Fi or not. You had no problems. That made no sense.
Here's the thing. I mean, explain to you why. On your phone, that's over the air, right? Either you're linking to your Wi-Fi router or you're going to your data. When you're going to Netflix, you're going through your internet service provider. Too many people were logging in at the exact same time.
Hmm.
And remember, everybody was saying the same thing during the pandemic. We're like, oh, everybody's home now. Everybody watching Netflix. Netflix going so slow. It's sluggish. Any service provider that provide you streaming, if the network band is not strong enough to support that type of load, it's going to happen. I'm sorry. America's not the greatest country. It never have been in a long time for the past 4 to 6 decades. So let's stop the bullshit, will ya? You had to prove my point yesterday when you're trying to watch an exactly jacked up fight and you can barely watch it because of the buffering lag was no different from the dial up. Hmm. So everybody talk about this country is great. Gonna suck a egg.
I don't think this country's bad.
No, no,
I
no.
think
No, it's not about how bad. It is that people are so dumbed down, stupid, so highly ignorant, so freaking retarded. Cannot pay attention to what's been going around them for the longest. Why you have crumbling structures for? Why the structure is out of here? America have a policy of put the cart before the horse.
This is what makes me concerned now with Netflix. All right,
It's
because
not
this is
just
going to be
Netflix.
part.
It's not gonna affect. Let Hulu do the same exact thing. It will be the same thing with Hulu as well. The problem has nothing to do with Netflix. It's into your internet service provider. That's where the issue is at hand. This is why I say people don't pay attention to the actual thing. This is why if I would have a teacher that say I'm allergic to stupid people, that means I have lost my cool. I remove all the restraint, and anyone can get it anytime, any day. I've been this way for more
So
than 40 years because here's the thing. It's not Netflix fault. Netflix using the same internet service that you have in your home. If your internet service provider fault, they very well know about this issue for the longest since the pandemic.
oh,
But
absolutely.
they could not fix it because of the government is sucking up all the money, making all kind of excuse. And how many times you be worried about this infrastructure bill? That shit could have been
I got a
passed.
better one for you. I got a better
That
one
should have
for you.
been passed for more than 20 years ago. Why they didn't fix that? You explain that to me.
Wait a minute. I got a better one for you. We have a company called Blue Ridge up here.
Oh Lord.
Wait, it gets better. They have contract with the township to use
Uh-huh.
their, towers, right?
Uh-huh.
So, to any other company come in, Verizon,
Uh-huh.
Fios, it's Verizon
Uh-huh.
actually, Comcast, they
Uh-huh.
are not allowed to do it because they're locked in contract. The only other internet you can get is satellite internet or those new boxes you get from Verizon or T-Mobile. And I live in a very woody area. I live in a mountain, pretty much. Just like depends
I
where you
get
are.
it.
You may get good service or bad service. So I have called out Blue Ridge, called them a fucking monopoly. Yeah, Blue Ridge, you're a fucking monopoly.
But it's not the Blue's fault. This have been going on way beyond that. I was giving a history lesson on why that was happening. It's not Blue Ridge first. Blue Ridge is in it. Verizon is in it. Um, Bell Atlantic, which got dissolved by Verizon, and every other provider, including Comcast, including Infinity, they all played that
Cablevision.
game. They play. They it would call it a turf war. Would they
Oh yeah.
sign some type of agreement with the government that one cannot come in the other territory? It's not something familiar with the documentary we're about to talk about next week or so about the Victorman documentary. Please, before we talk about it, please watch that document and understand about the turf war. That Victorman broke the gentleman agreement not to enter to my other turf. And he did anyway. That exactly what's going on in present time with these service provider. No one can go
So
to any other person's turf. There is a ironclad lock, meaning this is my turf, this is my turf. I cannot go to your turf, you cannot come to my turf, kind of thing. That
yeah.
is exactly what's going on. So I'm not really surprised that it's happening. For simple fact that because you know why? You create competition, people can choose, and you force people to drop their price to get the best customers. And no one want to do that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Hey, how you doing? So I just want to speak the facts about what the hell is going on. The problem with people is, we live in a dumbed down society. People are stuck on stupid. They've been giving breast milk for too long. They can't eat solid food. Oh well. So it's not just you that going through the same. Imagine someone down south had the same issue, and that's everybody doing the same type of nonsense. Mind you, what's going on, Wally? So I'm just speaking fact. I've been aware of
Yeah.
this since for more than 15 years. When I was trying to apply for a job for Comcast, and I realized they were doing the same exact thing. There's a turf war in New York City. Who
Oh yeah. I
can
know people
control what
in Blue
area?
Ridge communication who said they're scared shitless if they have somebody else come in. But let's get into the topic tonight. All right, we're talking about what if the NWO came back?
Uh,
Uh oh.
it,
Go ahead.
I'll, I'll put it like this. NWO was a faction that was very unique in itself, but it came out for a specific reason because there was a time when the almighty Papa, Vince McMahon, who took all over the whole entire nation turf of wrestling, hijacking, kidnapping, wasn't really kidnapping wrestler, but he was stealing wrestling from other promotion, making sure they fall apart. So it got to a state when there was a particular controversy that took place concerning the, what would we call it? Oh yeah, the juicy era. and they had to change how they do things. And some of these wrestlers are getting slowly shoved out the door to be replaced with a new generation of wrestlers. So what did they do? One by one, they decided to leave WWF to join with the competition called WCW, right? So when they joined WCW one by one, and they realized, you know what? Let's stick it to them. Let's give WWF a massive gold-plated middle finger. So we have Scott Hall and Kevin Nash created the Outsider. Hogan came along after he wasn't doing well in his movie career because he had to lay low for a while because they were making it seem like he was the sacrificial lamb for the juicing era. Then he realized he can go back to wrestling and make more money. He decided to go to WTW, and they make this pit among themselves. Let's create something completely different, a complete different faction called New World Order. Newsflash: that regime was copied by WWE. And people weren't paying attention because Mick McMahon tried to do his own version of that.
Degeneration
And
X.
no, it wasn't the Generation X. It was the one he did with the Undertaker. The Generation X was a rebel. They wasn't going along with the system. They were like they'll do their own thing, but they had to fight against the watered down version of the NWO, New World Order, through Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon, The Undertaker, and their faction, so to speak. Degeneration X was more of the rebel. We do our own. We could care less. We don't care about authority figure, so to speak. Here's the problem: their faction was doing well until some of their members was also, how you want to say, they brought back the juicing era within their group. So because of that issue and because of the magnifying glass on them, some people had to slowly get pushed out of the faction. And the many founding two members stayed there for a certain period of time. You know what I mean? Until one literally dumped the girl for the boss's daughter. You know how that went down. So that faction was a shell of its former self, if you think about it. But NWO was very unique because it was all the wrestlers who were rejected by WWF to jump ship to WCW. But it was doing good until it was, you know the saying when you outdo your welcome, you went too far, you were destroying talent and it was making it hard for other talent to grow. That's also a side effect of NWO. But the fact that they try to bring it to WWE and we created it again, it was kind of like, uh, it wasn't going to work. The only faction that ever come close to be like NWO was actually better than NWO, and they were able to go to multi promotion with the Bullet Club. The way they went about it, they did very, very well. But I'm noticing there's so many different fades of the Bullet Club. The latest one now is the War Dogs. Hmm. And I was asking, like, wait, you had some of the original members of the Bullet Club in WWE. Why could they recreate the whole thing all over again? Make it more fun. What's the problem? There's something had to do with Triple H and the created idea, like, they're not gonna do that, or so to speak. But if we all did to discuss about NWO, how to recreate it, it's kind of hard right now because we have AEW in the mix of things right now. That's number one. They're not letting go of the bloodline storyline because that is their cash cow now. That had been making money for them for the past, what, 4 years already? They got into a new stage whereby you had the bloodline civil war, just like the Avengers civil war, so to speak. I'm just saying, I'm looking at the whole storyline like how you play yourself out. And now, if you want to bring the NWO, ladies and gentlemen, please help me to make sense of this. If they want to bring NWO in the present market of the wrestling industry, who will fit the criteria compared to the overture of NWO. If you are a big time wrestling fan, I'm telling you, it's hard to recreate that idea, and it has to come from a specific reason why it's needed. And who do you think will fit that model? Because as I look across WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor Wrestling, TNA Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Wrestling Noah, and Triple A actually for the Latino wrestling promotion. Let's not forget D5 Wrestling, which is located more on the west side of thing in Washington State. Yeah, I do watch wrestling, so I remember a lot of the promotion. These were within the US as well in Japan. As for the UK, NXT UK kind of like messed up the market for those folks. So I'm not sure who from that side will either join that way. So you let me know if you watch wrestling the way I watch wrestling and pay close attention to what the heck is going on. Shout out to Wrestle Talk because they've been following through on multiple promotions. And they even trying to figure out something like that as well. And you got some great documentary. Trust me, they do.
So I'm agreeing almost like 95% of the stuff you're saying. There are some things I'm going to add to it. Now, they had a specific magic trick between the NWO, DX, or where is it called? The Mister of Darkness. That's the other faction you were talking about.
Yeah, thank you.
So they fucked up a couple times, and WCW because DX was driving a Jeep / tank
Into
into
that,
in
I know.
WCW, and they closed the doors on him. But even Triple H said in a future interview, like, imagine if he came in. Before we go in, I gotta get this guy in here.
Who's coming in? Mr. Bennett, President-elect forever.
You beat me to it.
What's good, gentlemen?
What's going on, Paul? How are you tonight, my man?
Tired, but hey, it's training day.
Hey,
So on my latest, pull 5 reps, basically a total weight of 280 for 5 reps. So
Oh,
trying to
nice.
get to 10. So trying to
Sweet.
yeah, man.
So
no,
what you?
keep that there. Keep that there.
I'm gonna bring it back up. I want to ask him about the fight, and we'll get into the topic. So,
Okay.
how did you enjoy your fight last night?
I did not. I'm true to my word, as I said on the One-on-One Sports Show on the BMU Network, as I told everybody who was calling me and hit me up. Mandrell called me up, asking about the fight, and I told him I will not watch that fight. So again, I stand on principle here, and I am not going to support anything that denigrates the sport of boxing. And so I'm not a fan of these mixed cards. I'm not a fan of MMA versus boxers or vice versa. I'm not a fan of, getting these guys out of retirement and fighting. Look, if you want to do a glorified sparring session, like, Holyfield and Tyson, that might have been the only thing I was willing to accept because you kind of knew both. But I mean, I think that Paul is a fraud.
Thank you.
He's never fought anyone of caliber. He's beat up a basketball player. He's over the hill MMA fighters. And the only guy who had a professional boxing record, even of note, was one of the Furies. I think Tyson Fury's nephew, and he lost to him.
Big time.
But he couldn't beat a top flight amateur. And I'm sorry, there are guys who pay their dues in this sport.
Thank you.
And I will not support anybody who hasn't paid their dues. And so I don't care. 60 million people watched that fight last night, or that fight card. And I'm sorry. I just don't go with the crowd that way. And I will not support any promotion by the Pauls. I think they're just basically these social media sensations that have this, what do you call it? Lemmings following. This is all part of manosphere space here, just like that guy Tate. Just like that guy Tate overseas. It's just these guys that somehow they're able to get these followings from being obnoxious. You didn't earn your shot from being good. You got your shot from being obnoxious. And so again, I just hate everything that those guys are about. No, look, you can say, well, Tyson, he didn't come out injured. He made about $20 million. Good for him. And from what I understand, the fight card, the fight with Serrano and Taylor, I heard that was a good fight. I didn't see a lot of the highlights of it yet. But again, boxing, from what I did hear, unfortunately, boxing gets in its own way again, because from what I understand, it was a robbery. Now, again, I looked at the punch stats. Serrano landed like twice as many punches as Taylor did, or whatever. So I don't know what the judges were looking at. But that's always been a blight on boxing, is when you have these bad decisions, when Stevie Wonder could see that the other person won. So
Well,
look,
I'm going to second, Paul. It's also, there were a lot of headbutting on one side of the fight. I watched it. I tried to watch it because Netflix was back on gay. But every time she was losing, she would come down with a headbutt to stop the fight. Or something to kind of throw the pace up, because her opponent was throwing nail makers. Like, it was like, she's a fast puncher too. It was like, pa, 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 pa. I'm like, oh, she's freaking fast. But the judging was horrible all night. Horrible. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I wouldn't be surprised about it. I would not be surprised, because,
and like I said, and that's always been a blight on boxing. And a lot of times, again, I don't know who the main promoters were. Was this all Paul? I know typically Taylor has been promoted by Eddie Hearn, and you have that certainly that British contingent there. So I don't know, but again, boxing gets in its own way just as much. So I can only be so upset at the outcomes, because boxing does as much to shoot itself in the foot as well. But again, boxing at its best, as I've always said, beats MMA at its best. And that's why I'll always highlight, certainly on the sports show, I'll always highlight upcoming fights that are worth watching. In fact, I just posted one on my live on my feed on Facebook. You got coming up David Benavidez versus David Morrell. These are two top guys at the 175-pound division, some of the best in the world. They're going to be going at it, and it has a decent undercard, former world champions on it. So again, this is the kind of stuff that these are the kind of fights that and these are the that I want to promote. And so I'll always, even when it comes to the sports show, I'm always highlighting upcoming cards that I think that are worthy of people's attention. But I'm just, but overall, I'm just disgusted by the product, and shame on all of the guys who are supposed to be knowledgeable about boxing. I mean, shame on Teddy Atlas. Spent a whole segment on this on his fight platform. I mean, this shouldn't have gotten any space, because this isn't, like I said, this isn't legitimate. So why are you giving this space? The rules were drastically compromised. And now I don't know if this is going to count on Tyson's record or not, because I don't know if this was sanctioned by any one of the major sanctioning bodies. I don't know if this will count as a loss.
It was sanctioned in Texas.
In Texas, but again, will this officially count on his fight record?
I don't know.
So I mean, it shouldn't. Again, it should have been just a glorified sparring session, and leave it at that. And it wasn't that glorious. So but
it was annoying, because it was putting me to sleep, because even though they were trying to watch it here in front of the living room, and I saw some of the lagging and the buffering, which I was aware. I was like, let me hear somebody say something stupid later on. Well, it
really makes you miss HBO, Showtime. When the cable networks, they were able to put on these big fights, no problem. But again, 60 million people on a streaming platform for a live event. I don't know if anybody was expecting that. I certainly wasn't expecting that. But
I was expecting the lag. I was expecting the lag to be far worse than that. I was expecting that, to be honest. Because
I just went to.
You're not in the tech field. Know this. When the pandemic happened, the same thing happened before during the pandemic. Everybody was home. They were having lag in nature.
So hang on a second, David. Obvious. I just checked Mike Tyson's stats online on ESPN. According to ESPN, this went against him. Actually, it counts as a loss. It shouldn't.
Yeah.
But one thing I also read this morning that they're actually both are suspended at the moment under investigation because a lot of things that happen behind closed doors, a lot of agreements because they are friends and business partners. So they think both of them are in it together to both make money and stuff. Like I said
So
to
again,
Black
so we
David
don't
when
even know, was this even a legitimate contest at the end of the
according
day?
to they were saying it was legitimate. It was sanctioned and everything. At first it wasn't, but then it got back a lot of backlashes. Okay, let's make the sanctions, but they never followed the sanctions rule. They followed exhibition rules like no hitting the head, just body shots, all that stuff. So now that actually, excuse me, that now the boxing is again evolved. And I was telling David earlier, like you might disagree with me, Paul, and it's fine. Boxing since UFC came in the picture, boxing has not been what boxing used to be. Has lost
Oh,
a lot of hype.
oh, totally. Look, I
And
mean, from a media standpoint, from a marketing standpoint, I can't argue with the numbers and the crowds that they get or whatnot. But to me, it's a different product. You know,
the
Absolutely.
thing is,
like
the
yeah,
exhibition that he did with Roy Jones was better than this.
yeah.
And for some reason, I picked up on it. I was like, this shit is rigged. 'Cause
And
No,
he even
no,
said
no, no,
it.
no, no offense. I wanted to see Mike Tyson knock his head off his shoulder. That's the only reason I want to watch it.
But you know that wasn't going to happen.
And you're right, it wasn't going to happen. But
We never
me,
hang on. We
me,
never
but-
saw Tyson spar. All you saw, look, I have a speed bag and a heavy bag in my basement. I can go there right now and I can kind of put on the show for you guys. All right. Not a problem. All you saw Tyson do was hit mitts with a guy, and he knew that the drills and the punches were coming. That's it. You didn't see him spar. You didn't see him in a position where he had to defend himself. You didn't see any of that.
and you're right.
And he hasn't been in that situation in nearly 10 years. The Roy Jones thing, like I said, that was a glorified sparring session. They knew they weren't going to hurt each other. He had other sparring sessions with people. Again, the intent was not to hurt the other person. So he hasn't been in a situation where you had damaging punches, you know, coming at you, heavyweight punches coming out to really disable you.
And
You
then
haven't had
it,
to defend against that.
and then it, the Logan brother are complete fraud through and through because even his older brother when he came to wrestling, and I'm a nat. No, you ain't no freaking natural. You may be gifted to a degree, but the discipline for people to put into wrestling.
My daughter was saying that he's only been this year, only wrestled twice this year. The
And
average life of a professional, a WWE wrestler is what, like
You're right.
300 days
mm-hmm,
on the road?
mm-hmm.
So again, he hasn't. So again, I'm tired of these
And
media
I'm glad,
because of social
this
media. These
guy
guys are getting the shine.
Kevin
It's
Knight. No,
sickening to me.
I'm glad the guy Knight took the belt from him behind, and the way he did it, he made sure he got that beating. Like, dude, you don't belong here.
Yeah, I wish that somebody did a what do you call it, a shoot. I would have loved it if one of the vets from back in the day stretched him out. I don't know if
Um,
Paul's ever been stretched,
Here's the
but he
thing:
needs to be.
Logan Paul got knocked out in his fight with Mayweather, and Mayweather caught his ass to make sure that nobody noticed that he got knocked out.
I think they brought him in to try to promote boxing and make it bigger again, and it's
Big,
backfiring in their face.
bigger in what? Big in what? No, hold on. Bigger in what way? Logan Paul lost his fight with Mayweather, and I told Mayweather caught him trying to shake him out like, yo, you're not gonna knock out like that. The dude lost the fight.
I
He
agree
did
with you,
not
bro.
survive it. He did not survive it. I'm a very vicious, tough critter when it comes to comeback sport. And I hate watching cookie cutter fighting. I really do. So I'm the worst critic for UFC because there's too many cookie cutter fighters in there. They're not real
Absolutely.
fighters.
It's oversaturated too. That's my other issue with it. So
Oversaturated. I was trying to get in. Mind you, did the confession. I was trying to get into UFC so I can use it as the mean take out my decade long wait and beat up anybody I can put a face on to beat up the people I wish I could, but take it out on them. And I would have been a demon in UFC if I would allow it to be in there.
all right, David,
And
hang
all
on.
I,
I got a clip I want to show really fast. We're gonna go over that
See,
clip.
this is what people again. This was 38 years ago. This is what people were hoping for, but it's not going to happen. But anytime I watch Mike Tyson, I've watched this more than any clip ever. This is what people wanted, but you're not going to get it. So if you want to see Tyson at his glory, this was it.
All right, so we're gonna go with this clip. We're gonna talk about a few seconds. Then we're back on topic. All right, guys.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. Let me get the volume on.
10 rounds if you saw against Mitch Queen. I don't see that as a problem.
All right, very quickly, let's look at the tail of the tape. You will see that Frazier has a reach advantage of about 6 inches, which will probably be nullified if he comes forward toward Tyson, as we expect him to do. Round 1 is about to begin. The referee is Joe Cortez. In New York State, scoring is done by 3 judges. The referee does not score, scoring on the round system, supplemental 4-point scoring system if the rounds wind up even, and the 3 knockdown rule is in effect. Tyson comes out slugging.
He comes out smoking like Marvis's father, Joe. Marvis must move or we're going to be out of here very, very quickly. Uppercut, and Marvis is hurt.
Frazier is down. Joe Cortez moves in to have a look, and he's going to stop the fight.
Now confident in his ability to go 10 rounds.
No, Todd, I know you're coming, because I think the one with Michael Pink was worse than the Fraser one. The Michael Pink one, when Michael Pink opened his mouth and did people that who were very dear to Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson came with a vendetta, and I remember watching that the kid live.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Pink did not see it coming. Mike Tyson, when we need to say the bell went ding ding, all I knew, Mike Tyson was trying to take this man's head off.
Well, he beat him. I mean, he beat him up as way he can beat him up.
He was on the ground like this, looking up like, what just happened to him? Like, whoa, whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, whoa.
But that came off of a knockdown. Remember, he knocked him down with a body shot. The body shot put him down first. Then he gets up. They re-engage. Tyson hits him with an uppercut, and that was it. But that is, look, that's how I want to. That's how I want to remember Tyson.
I want Logan Paul. No, that is Jake Paul. I want Jake Logan. Jake Paul, whatever his name. I'm so pissed for that. I want his head to get knocked off like Mortal Kombat, Johnny Cage style. That's what I wanted. We'll talk.
It's not gonna happen from a 58-year-old Mike Tyson. It can't.
So that's what I was going to say. I was waiting for you guys to finish. But so at his age, as much I would love to see him fight like the old Tyson. He's up there in age. He has some health issues. He's not going to be as
he's not Larry Holmes.
Huh?
He's not like Larry Holmes. He came back when he was a little older. He's not like Larry Holmes. Larry Holmes.
No, it's nothing like that. But hear me out, dude. He's up there in age. Let's give him credit. It was due.
I know.
But this wasn't a sanctioned fight, or it was a sanctioned fight, but wasn't a real fight. It was a setup fight, like a WWE kind of fight.
Yes.
An end of story. They're both suspended right now. According to the last news I heard, they're under investigation because of this reason. They thought it was rigged, and I personally think it was rigged too, because I know Tyson, even at his age, he's only threw 6 punches in the whole match. I know at his age, he would throw more punches than 6 punches. I'm sorry. At least 30 to 40 punches, I see him putting in. Did I think he was going to win? No, I don't think he was going to win. I think, Logan was going to lay his ass out, I thought. But if Tyson got that one punch, he just needs that one punch, connect that one punch, gung, that's it, you're out. But again, it wasn't like that.
Not again with this ear talk.
He actually did try to bite him. If you saw, he was biting his glove instead. Like he admitted he has a biting investigation. Also, he also said towards the end, I'm gonna move to the next topic after this. He said he's not done yet. He's coming back for. He wants to go. He wants to fight for the belt next. I don't agree with it, but whatever. But okay, Paul. NWO. Well, you remember? What's your thoughts? Give me your
honestly, I don't. How
old you are?
At that time, I really wasn't watching wrestling hard. So you talk about the late 90s into the early 2000s.
Correct.
I was, really, kind of into my IT career and whatnot. So wrestling, I was kind of on the outs. I don't think I watched wrestling since the Montreal Screwjob. So I really wasn't, locked into it, like really like that. And even WCW, I might have been watching maybe just as the outsiders were kind of coming in, because Hall and Nash, they both had careers in WCW, but it's different.
Great.
It was I think one was the Diamond Stud, and then the other one was like the Wizard or something like that, or he played this Hall. He played this other I think this Wizard type guy, whatever. I forget his name.
Yeah, hang on. I'll look it up right now. Give me a second, Poco. You keep going.
So I'm familiar with those guys, but again, I didn't catch the NWA gimmick. Certainly,
NWO,
I'm very familiar with older fashion. So again, I got to go shout out to my man Eric. The first major faction that I remember was obviously the Four Horsemen, and they did the original team. So Ole and Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, and Ric Flair. And so I think that, and to me, that's still the Four Horsemen. I don't look at when Luger came or when Barry Windham came or whatnot. I don't regard those guys as the Four Horsemen. It's that original team with the Anderson brothers, Tully and Rick. And those guys rule wrestling. I mean, those guys, they owned pretty much every belt. Tully had the TV title.
I'm sorry.
Ole and Arn had the World Tag Team Championships, and Ric Flair was the NWA champion. So those guys as a faction, I mean, you talk about ruling wrestling and the storylines that they were able to tell there. Against when the Superpowers, when Dusty and Nikita Koloff got together and they were going against them. To me, that was the best odds. Yeah. So to me, that was the best of the factions. Now, it's interesting because I know WWF at the time had the opportunity to have a faction, but it never really went anywhere. And that was when Roddy Piper came in 83. It was Roddy Piper, Paul Orndorff, Dr. D, David Schultz. Those guys, and if you throw in Bob Orton, those guys had an opportunity, but again, it didn't go anywhere. I think WWF, they went the Rolling Rock connection and Cyndi Lauper and all that stuff, and that led up to the original WrestleMania. So they went into another direction, but that could have been a serious, legit team that never formalized in the WWF.
But Vince didn't want it. That's the problem.
Yeah. So it didn't. But that would have been very, very interesting if you had a heel faction that really took off. They started something, but they didn't complete it off. And so again, after that, again, I heard about the NWO, but again, didn't follow them. And then once the merger happened, when Vince tried to bring the NWO into WWF, it failed dramatically. I mean, Hall was having his drug problems, and it just really didn't go as intended. But the benefit, I guess, that came out of that was WrestleMania 18, Rock Hogan, which is still to me probably the best WrestleMania main event ever. In terms of that environment, the crowd, the turn that had to happen, because again, initially Rock came in as the heel, but at the onset of the match, they knew right then and there that Hogan was the face, and they had to switch that match right there in order to to pull it off. So,
but the thing is, I remember that match too, because when Rock came in at the face, but the people turned on him, and they
you saw it.
Hogan change gear to the face real time
when they did the stare down,
and they did
the stare down, right? Mm-hmm. And they looked at each other, and they looked at the crowd, and then they looked at each other again. It's like, all right, we got to switch this up.
Yeah,
it was like, this is not going to work.
They've realized it. So before, hang on, David, hang on. So before we go to ahead, Kevin asked the other names were Diesel, Big Daddy Cool, and Big Sexy.
Yeah,
that's what we.
But I'm saying that he was right. Oz was Nash's character, and I'm saying at the time I stopped.
No,
watching.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm adding to that.
Yeah. So Oz and the Diamond Stud were the characters that they
at the moment
had at the time, and I kind of felt so by like 93, 94, maybe 95. That's kind of when I kind of fell off for a minute. And I didn't even watch a lot of the Attitude Era, quite frankly, at the time, because I was just in a different place. I didn't really come back to wrestling until when the SmackDown started. That was like 98, 99.
I believe
like that.
Friday
I know
Night
when I started
SmackDown.
watching it in early 2000s, I
Yeah,
had to go break myself because I was in Greece, and in Greece didn't have it. So I came back in 1999, 2000. Yeah, 1999 I came back to the States. No, 98 I came back. They was already playing it.
Mhm.
So in 98, I would say maybe 97. I look it up right now.
Yeah.
Either 97, 98, but the thing about SmackDown came at a reliever because there was so much talent that coming to Raw alone. They feel like they weren't getting no
April
TV
29,
time.
1999.
99.
99.
Yeah.
So because of SmackDown, it allowed them to have talent on either show. Either you be on the part of the Raw roster, and they will be part of the SmackDown roster.
Right.
They
So it's kind
started
of
that
like,
later on.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
So now let me ask you a question, Paul. And David kind of answered already. If they were coming back, and say they kind of NWO 2.0, what? Will you shut the fuck up over there for a minute before you shake your head? What would you think? And who'll be your top three guys? And then you can go, Paul. Who your top three guys are? I mean, David.
I don't know if it would come off. The only team, and again, I don't know if we want to have a discussion about factions in general,
We
because
can.
you had the Click in the WWF, which I think probably was even more impactful because those guys actually went to WCW and crashed their party, which NWA never did. So that was pretty messed up.
They came this close, actually, but they closed the doors on them. They were going to come in.
But I mean, the fact that they were
crash.
there, I mean, we saw the footage. They were there, right?
Yeah.
So they were that bold to go into someone else's territory and do that. I mean, people didn't even do that in the territory days. You didn't pull a stunt like that without the promoters knowing about it. So
until Vince promoted his business, telling people wrestlers from other promoters to come to his, or you make more money over here. Remember that part?
oh yeah, I mean, definitely. But I'm just saying, but in that's like behind the scenes stuff. I mean, these guys, they kind of went, I don't know if that went rogue or whatever, and they tried to do that. Now, the closest thing that I've seen to an NWO faction that had some potential, and to this day, honestly, I think this may have a greater chance of succeeding. I love the Shield.
The Bloodline?
The Shield to me was the
Yeah.
closest thing
Yeah.
to NWO or Four Horsemen or whatever. If somehow, some way they can get a man who went to
John Moxley.
yeah, if you get him back,
or whatever his name is, yeah.
and
He's
if
not
they're
coming back.
able, because you got 2 of the 3 there already, and I know
He's
you
not-
have the
he's not
story
coming
with the
back for a lot of
bloodline and all that
reasons.
kind of stuff going on.
He's not
If
coming for a lot of
somehow,
reasons.
some way, even if it's a reunion, they've done like 2 or 3 reunions with the
Yeah.
Shield. And
But-
if they did that again, it would pop off, even if it lasted for a minute. I don't think that kind of thing is sustainable, which is one of the reasons why I give the Horsemen so much credit, because they had such longevity, even though they had different teams and makeups and stuff. I mean, Ole Anderson wanted to go off and raise his son or whatever, or that he had legitimate reasons for wanting to break it up. So so I give those guys a lot of credit, but I think the NWO from what I saw from a distance, it became oversaturated. When you had the NWA Wolfpack and whatnot,
There you
it just
go.
became too much. It became too messy, I think.
But think about it, Paul.
Yeah.
The NWO for black and white, then the NWO black and red Wolfpack. You don't see anything familiar that's going on in present time?
Well, as far as what the bloodline and the
Bingo.
factions, yeah.
Bingo.
Now, well, back to Peter's question. Now, when you say who are the members, are you talking about a 3-person team?
Yes, 3-person
or are you
team
talking about when
today's
each team had
roster.
like 20 members in it? I mean,
We're not talking about that when they get oversaturated. I'm talking about when they first started was it 3 to 4 members, if you remember. Okay, I'll raise one. I'll give you 4 members. Pick 4 WWE superstars. I hate saying that word like that. It doesn't sounds right to me. 4 wrestlers that are currently on the roster right now, Raw and SmackDown. I don't care which one. Who would you pick? Your four main cojones guys who have the fucking balls to do some stupid and crazy and fuck shit up.
honestly, I'm not. Again, I'm kind of on the out phase again, so I kind of know who's there.
Just pick
But
4.
I'm not quite sure. And again, with all the stuff going on, because again, you kind of had a faction team with the Latin teams, right? You had what's that, the LWO,
and that's back right now, actually.
Okay, so you had that going on, and then you got the faction going on with the Samoans, with the bloodline. So
Right now, yeah.
So you got so much going on. I think a lot of stuff has to go. I think it can't be anybody with the current roster. Honestly, I think you're gonna have to get some new blood into this thing, or bring back maybe some of those guys from AEW. Like I said, a Moxley. I don't know. I mean, what's the name's too old? Jericho's too old. But I think
Jericho's
you're gonna
wrestling,
have to
dude.
get like a new. You need like a new infusion, I think, because
But
everybody's in a faction, and I just don't see how you're gonna pull that off. One thing,
but
but
here
everything
the
came as a
About
issue.
Kevin
surprise, right?
Omega.
But here the issue. I'm glad
I think
Mr.
he's too
Paul.
old. Yeah,
I'm glad Mr. Paul laid this one out. Here what the issue I was trying to point out. Remember when I mentioned a list of promotion that you have to find a reason for them to be part of the end. And I mentioned from WWE to AEW to Ring of Honor Wrestling to TNA Wrestling. Let's not forget the Fire Wrestling. Then we got New Japan Pro Wrestling. We got Wrestling Noah and Triple A. Now to pull people from these multiple promotions to create NWO, it had to be a cloth behind it. The reason why NWO came to existing because they were being shoved out to the back door because they're saying their era is done in WWF/E. And that's how the NWO got created in WCW. As in the gold plated platinum fingertip, middle finger to Vince McMahon. Oh, we outdated? Screw you. We'll steal your ratings. That was the case. But to do that now, I even mentioned you have some of the original member of the Bullet Club in WWE right now. You know why we're not gonna let that happen? Because if you create an NWO version now 2.0, it won't be an NWO 2.0. It'll be more likely the Bullet Club 2.0, but do it where it should have been done.
yeah.
And the reason why it was not going to happen, Vince McMahon didn't want the popularity of the Bullet Club to come in to his promotion.
Now, hang on, guys. Let me ask you a question because again, I haven't been following quite. I heard over the last couple of weeks something to the effect of Vince is coming back.
He can't with a
He
clause.
can't. He's banned.
He's
Okay,
completely banned.
I'm saying I just heard that.
So what
So you
he's trying to
because
do?
David, you're saying Vince won't let it happen, but if Vince is not
No,
involved, if it's Triple H that's running things, could he let something like that happen? Because this
here's the
isn't Vince
problem.
then.
Vince McMahon have lost all credit, right, and access to WWE. He completely sold it to TKO, right? He want to be part of the board of directors. After that little scandal thing, it kind of like made it almost no completely impossible for him to have any say. So all the credit idea goes straight to Triple H. Now there's a stupid ass rumor from Vince Russo saying about this lawsuit that's going on that's affecting Vince Jr. It's also going to affect Triple H, and they will have to kick him out. Here where I found out Vince Russo, if you're watching this, put that middle finger up your butthole. It's not going to happen. As I was saying, it's almost impossible to remove Triple H out and put somebody because once you do that, you destroy WWE as a brand and you give AEW and other promotion the chance to regain whatever traction they have and overtake them. Because who besides Triple H understand wrestling for what it is right now? Who can produce? Let's be since Triple H have been running the show. Who can do what he do similar right now?
The ratings are
So,
being the highest they have ever been since the Attitude Era.
my point exactly.
So let me
And
jump
this,
here for a second here. So we have pick 4 guys. I'm gonna let you guys pick in a second.
mhm.
But with the stuff how they're doing it with the bloodline right now, perfect. I'm gonna disagree with you. I'll tell you why. Because they put Vince put this crown on Roman Reigns that you couldn't get this shit off him the way he built him up. So big, so high, like the belt was up his ass, and he could have flossed it out of his ass. That's how high he had it up there.
No. It's
So
not flawed.
hang on. So the way they actually did it, originally they were going to let Rock and Roman kind of go at it, and that didn't work out because of the crowd, and they did the redirect, and I'm glad they did that. Rock and Roman's going to happen, just not yet. They're taking it in a year or so, but whatever. The way they go, Bloodline, OTC original versus 2.0, I like it actually. I think it's entertainment. I mean, I'm curious. It keeps me tuned in. Like, what's going to happen next? I don't have cable. I shall watch the highlights on their website on WWE channel. So that gets me entertained again. I'm excited. I want to turn into WWE. Now,
But
4 main guys. Who will you guys pick? There, you go first.
here's my thing. I'm glad you brought that one up because after I watched this whole thing, Bloodline, did it back to the pandemic time to now. The original Bloodline versus Bloodline 2.0 opened nothing more than a storyline for the actual family to bring more people into the mix and make sure they get the big dot. Because let's be real, technically speaking, of all the wrestling family, what other wrestling family is dominant on multiple promotion right now beside the Rock family? Who?
That's why I'm bringing this up.
Because if you want to bring a faction like Jamaica NWO, remember I say Bullet Club, I didn't say NWO. Bullet Club was a better rebel than that of the DX. If you think about it, Bullet Club was multi-promotional rated. They was rating what? New Japan Pro Wrestling, Wrestling Noah, TNA Wrestling, AEW, the NWA. They were invading, even Triple A. The only place they did not invade was WWE because Vince did not want the popularity to go too big beyond that. So what did they do? They shove a platinum dildo of Roman Reigns out and make him the king, right? But like Tomo was saying one other podcast, The Rock could have done the same thing as Roman, but Rock didn't want to do that. So they put that responsibility on Roman Reigns. So they termed the tribal chief. Because those kind of things, if you're not paying attention to story, like if you want to be a writer for a wrestling promotion, how will you write a storyline and not overlook specific details? That's why when they wrote the Bloodline storyline, it was deliberate to do it in a way whereby one, Vince, Vince is using Roman Reigns to make a lot of money, which he was, but here's another thing was going on. Roman Reigns was doing it whereby the storyline had to work in a way it will open door for other family members to join into the fray and make the big bucks. Bloodline Civil War, that is the best idea you could ever imagine. But the war game will not be enough because you know how many other wrestlers are still wrestling that could join into the fray and make it even better. So if you were to have a faction that will compete with both the the original Bloodline and Bloodline 2.0, they had to be a complete rebel, and they had to be like F the authority, F the manager, screw the Bloodline. This how we go run amok, but run amok to the point whereby not only run amok here, we do it in TNA also, we do the other promotion. We don't have to get a pass from Triple H to evade other promotion, and that's what I say. We have the original member of the Bullet Club in WWE already. And should I let them? Finn Balor, aka the Prince,
Mm,
AJ Styles, Luke Gallo, and Carl Anderson. That's four. And you had the God, the Glory of Destiny, who now in what do you call it? Bloodline 2.0. Those are the original member of the Bullet Club. They were running workshop with every promotion. They were literally collecting all the gold. So if you want to get something, you know why? The hate get put on the side, what they are getting put on the side for the bloodline to get all the TV time while they're sitting down in catering, figuring when they're gonna have time to be TV time themselves. If you think about it. So they're having what faction war now these days now. That's what's going on in WWE. You're having faction war. It's going all across from SmackDown to Monday Night Raw and to
but
NXT.
AEW is having the same thing.
AEW having the same thing, but they're doing it a completely different way WWE doing it.
Absolutely, I'm not
But
disagreeing, but they're still
but
having a faction war. That's what I
AEW
want to get to.
AEW is connected with not only to TNA but also New Japan Pro Wrestling, also Western Noah and Triple A. So they got more to work with. So that's what I'm saying too. We create NWO. It had to be just almost similar to the to the edge where they're being shoved out, or they'll be forced to retire, or let's say we don't need you no more. We have better wrestlers to replace you. It has to be something in that type of caliber that say, you know what, F you. And you don't need another Eric Big Shaw to make it even worse again. Whereby, yes, he joined the club and you screw all your other talent. Now,
Okay, so pick your four
but
wrestlers then.
if that was the case, the 4 wrestler already jumped to 3 of them went to WWE or AEW already. If that was the case, who think I'm referring to?
Pick the 4 wrestlers that are on the roster today.
No, on the roster today, it will not fit. I said the one who could have done it left WWE and went to AEW.
I understand that, but you're not answering the question I'm asking now. I need you to pick 4 wrestlers.
4 wrestlers. That's what I'm saying. It's hard to pick for because who will fit the.
I have my list already set up here,
No,
buddy.
because as I'm going back to the comments somebody listed, they say CM Punk, AJ Lee, Samoa Joe, RVD, and Kevin Nash at the faction general in their version. That's who that's in it? Because to fit that criteria, you have to look at the character. Who will we replicate that thing? And it's hard to find anyone in WWE roster that would do that. To be quite honest with you, because if that was the case, then you have to twist to a certain degree. AJ Styles, the Prince, no, they're not muscle. They're not. They didn't have that type of fear in them. Because when they had the NWO, you had 2 big guys with Hulk Hogan, who was a general. So who would be a big guy who would do such a thing for the NWO? Now you had they joined the new version of the Bloodline 2.0. Big Ronson Reed. It's kind of hard. So if I'm trying to find someone who will fit the new NWO 2.0, if I think about the Final Testament, it's not going to fit either. Because that's completely different. I'm looking at what other wrestlers besides those people will fit the criteria. And I like, as I look through, I'm like, damn, there's none.
I disagree.
You may disagree. I'm very anal about who to pick that will fit the criteria properly. It had to make sense. You have to say, no, yes, this is going to work. There will be fire. There will be a threat to be reckoned with. Even the bloodline, you will be like, no, we have to join forward because we can't even keep fighting among ourselves, and they'll take Luxor over. I know that, but there's not any wrestler who can come together and make a version of the NWO 2.0 faction whereby it's literally a threat right now. It's kind of hard. See, the bigger problem is who had the NWO swagger. That's what I was trying to point out.
Okay, so because I know Paul is still a little, he doesn't know who to pick.
I know he's thinking, because I'm
You want
going
to take a few more minutes, Paul, and come back to you?
No, I mean, I don't think in the current landscape, I don't think you can produce that. I mean, right now you have 10, I'm on the site now, you have 10 factions, both in the men's side and on the women's side in WWE currently. I think what the NWO did, just like the 4 Horsemen did, the idea of a faction, it was like there was basically like one faction, like there was like one core group that and everybody else was going after them. I think you'd have so many different storylines and so many different things going on. I don't know if it's even possible to replicate when you have that many teams and that many groups going on. I just don't. And then you also have to ask the question: what is the goal of the faction? If the goal of the faction is to basically disrupt leading or top contenders, for example, for winning championships or interfering in matches. Like, so it used to be like, from what I remember of the NWO, it's like you got a title match going on and they would come over and they would, bum rush the broadcast booth and kick everybody off. And then they would get in the ring and they would just foul up the match. So if it was Goldberg or whoever it was, they would try to be disruptors so to change the outcome of certain events. So I don't know what the goal was. Like,
and they did that twice.
Or is it about winning titles? Like I said, the 4 Horsemen, their thing was they wanted to own every major title: World Tag Team Championship, NWA championship, television title, or US title. That was like they wanted to control. Everybody had to go through them, and that was the goal there. So again, if you're talking about what the NWO did, they basically tried to disrupt everybody else, and change outcomes of matches, and just when you thought something was going one way, they would switch it so that it can win another way. And they were always, so that was their thing. They were just to again to change outcomes. So if that is what you want, one, you got to, and then you also got two. You still got two shows, right? You still got Raw and SmackDown. So you're gonna have one NWA team affecting both products, or are they
free
going to
agents.
even allow for you to will this team, will they be able to cross over on Raw and SmackDown and cause similar disruption? I think that's really the only way you might be able to do it, is they have to have the freedom. So yes, you're going to have your defined Raw and SmackDown roster, but this team, they should be like, and then the announcers are going to be like, what are those guys doing here? They're on SmackDown. They're not supposed to be here. I mean, they're interrupting matches, or they're causing chaos.
Same concept with the Bloodline right now, because they're supposed to be on one, but they keep showing back and forth.
But hold on, before the Bloodline, it was tried it twice. Let me refresh your memory. Way Barrett and what you call it? Oh yeah, the Nexus. Didn't they try something like that, similarly speaking? How did that work out? Yeah. Okay.
But
Another one.
I don't think it was the same thing.
No, there's another one that this guy joined it before it went stale, and he was end up leaving WWE, and he was doing well outside. He had a few other wrestlers who joined the Wayne Max, and they made a stupid ass name, and they did the same exact thing. What was the group they call it?
Oh, those fucking idiots! I can't remember the name of it. That didn't last long.
So when that had been tried twice, and it epically failed, I always knew it failed for a lot of reasons, because to recreate what the NWO did, it had to be a specific reason that give them the fuel to say, you know what, F it, we had enough. They tried their idea try with the Nexus. They had to try that for this reject Power Ranger team with some weird name. Slap. What was the guy name? Slapnut. What kind of stupid? Oh, okay, let me not. Okay, there was some stupid ass name they were giving these characters. It was ridiculous. So it did not work at all. 18 and 8, that 88 was almost like NWO in TNA, but 18 and 8 was more like saying, okay, you infiltrate, you will set you up, you will lie, and this is how you will get it. It was cool to a degree, but the writers screwed up for it. 18 and 8. 88 was a cool faction. That's why I mentioned Bullet Club. Bullet Club was the type of faction that everybody can say that was either close or better than NWO. The problem is, Vince was not going to let it happen. He has a reason why, because Bullet Club popularity spread through multiple promotions, which means WWE have no creative control over that. Let's be legitimately clear here. If you want to create that type of faction, then you can put too much of your thumb. Let it play itself out properly, but it wasn't going to work that way. This is why I'm saying you acting with wrestlers, and as I'm trying to scan my brain on everyone who can fit the criteria, it wasn't going to work unless the original member came in and they bring some more people from New Japan Pro Wrestling to join into the fray. The problem is, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think it has to be. I think it has to be some fresh blood. It can't be.
It has to be, but the thing
with
is,
the
creative
current
control to it. You can't just do another reject or another Nexus reject or the other boat, because they did it twice. It didn't go too well. It did not go too well at all. So who will replace Hulk Hogan at the General? Who will replace Kevin Nash and Scott Hall at the right hand man and left hand?
The Outsiders. Yep.
So when you want to recreate that again, You have to look at it. That's why I said the one who could have done it. They left WWE and create their own version, and they called it the what do you call it? Oh yeah, the Her Syndicate. Who could those three could be? Interesting. Can we say who got a right way to do the effort? Bobby Lashley. They took his idea and get it to what? The bloodline. Interesting. We have who was underused and underestimated. What's his name again? Who work with Bobby Lashley right now?
Oh, the Hurt
Shelton
Locker?
Benjamin. He have a reason to say F the one time, and you have MVP. Those three individuals, when we talk about NWO, fit the criteria because they have a reason to say F you. But they took a storyline from them and gave it to what? The bloodline. Remember what I said? You had to find Pacific wrestler who have a actual gripe. That's how NWO was created. They had an
Yeah.
actual gripe against who? Who
Okay,
could that
I got
be?
4 for you. Hang on a second. I got 4 for you, all right?
Oh boy.
Drew McIntyre. McIntyre. I can't pronounce
Who?
his fucking name.
McIntyre.
Thank you.
Drew
One.
McIntyre. Okay, that's one. You got
Kevin
me there.
Owens.
Nah, he's leaving. He ain't gonna stay.
Yeah, he's saying, dude, he just renewed his contract.
No, I know he haven't signed a new contract yet. He haven't.
Whatever. I'm not talking about. We're talking about
Okay.
the new faction, whatever. NWO, LWO, FWO, BWO, whatever we want to call it. All right,
Okay.
that's two. Cody. The reason I'm picking Cody, we need a leader that keeps his head cool when he needs to be. All right. And this one I'm kind of going back and forth a little bit between Damian Priest and Seth Rollins. You don't have to agree with it.
Let me tell you why. Let me be logical with you. Seth Rollins too damn faithful to WWE, so you're not gonna play that part. So it's not gonna work. Damian
Is
Priest,
CM Punk still on the roster?
Yeah.
he's
All
on
right.
he's on the roster, but he's on an injury leave, so he's trying to recuperate.
Right.
Again.
Right.
When you mentioned Drew McIntyre, I had to agree with you on that part. He have enough gripe. He filled the criteria, but yet who alone will work with him in that type of way?
You
And he's
also
really
have
your only. He's really your only enforcer. But
no.
one of the things,
You have Damian
with the
Priest
outsides, I
too.
mean, there were, you had basically three guys who were basically 6'8" and tall. They were like amongst the biggest guys,
Bingo.
and you believed it that they just squashed everybody except when Goldberg came and whatnot, that he kind of leveled
Destroyed
off.
them.
But I mean, these guys took on Lex Luger. These guys took on the biggest guys in. So if they're like average size guys, you're
No,
gonna
hang on,
need
Paul.
somebody
Hang
to be
on.
the enforcer.
Between Drew and Damian Priest, if those two guys teamed up, forget it.
No,
I know it won't happen anytime soon.
I thought about it before in the past, and I was like, oh, there's something odd with this combination because Damian Priest have a certain flair. While you had that thing he did with the Judgment Day, that way he fit very very well. And what they going, it's funny, while the Bloodline storyline is the major storyline, the Judgment Day storyline is like a minor, so to speak. And the way he went about it, my boy Edge, who had to end up leaving, that was his idea, and they took it from him and did whatever they did. Right now, it's like a minor to the bloodline. So to have him and Drew McIntyre, I can't see it working because of anyone who have worked well with anybody. Hey, Wally, I'm glad he's here because he's another wrestling head because he might agree with what I'm saying. It's kind of hard to put Damian Priest, aka Punishment Martinez, with Drew McIntyre because one, culturally speaking, it don't interlock well too well. Two,
Mm-hmm.
their style of wrestling or their view of plus they both have big heads. One, they're not going to submit to. Let's be real.
I think that's why it will work.
That's the
Because
issue.
they have big heads.
So when it's I want to agree with you, but it's kind of hard. No, I'll be honest. It's kind of hard because if let's you're watching the product as long as I've been watching the product, to match Damian Priest with Drew McIntyre, it's almost like something had to make them stay together because otherwise they're gonna be fighting themselves among themselves. Between Samoa
So,
Joe
Wally, what
and
do you have to
April.
say about this? What we're talking about?
Mm.
Say that again?
What do you have to say?
Okay.
George for a minute.
Yeah. So you said your 3-man group would be who again? Or
Let me get my list back out. It will be Dwayne McIntyre. I can't pronounce his
Drew
fucking name.
McIntyre. Yeah, don't worry.
Cody Rhodes, Damian Priest, and Kevin Owens.
You said Damian Priest and Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
And the leader of that, you said Cody?
Yeah.
I can see why you choose Cody for the leader. I can see that because he does has his gripes with WWE, but because the fact that we heard the story and plus we also know like what happened, yeah, you can't be a leader no more because now you locked in after they made the apology, they came to your house directly, all that. So no. Drew, on the other hand, I'll give you that. I'll give you Drew because he definitely has the impact to do that. He has the impact. He definitely has the impact to do that. But now, when you're talking about, now you said Kevin Owens, and then you also say Damian Priest. This is where you have. This is the problem because you're talking about copying or having a similarity of the essence of NWO, and you're still missing the swagger piece. You're still missing that giant hitter. Because my thing is with Drew pretty much he's like a mixed rotation between like Hulk Hogan and Kevin Nash because he's pretty much your big guy and also your enforcer and the guy that you want to lead that force that really has that sedated mentality of taking the lead and really being that warhead. The reality is now, of course, like I said before, you're missing that sweet spot of the swagger because that's what made that group. Scott Hall can't be copied. He just can't.
No, you can. So when we say NWO 2.0 is a new version of it.
And the thing is, the only copy probably you can add to it, but the problem is that copy is not the same in that form. He'll be probably the co-op version, and for me, that would have to be like, quote unquote, John Moxley in comparison. In that other side, and that there's the reason why I say it. But just going back to it, right? Because I had to make sure when I thought of this, like when I'm listening to the conversation and everything, because in the main thing, right? Because the main core of NWO is 3 people.
Yeah.
Right. You chose to put it 4 because nowadays it's usually like 4 nowadays, right? So with Drew, Cody, Kevin Owens, and then of course you said who else?
Damian Priest.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I see what you're doing with it, but Priest would be the only one I'll let off the group. And why? Because with that inside the group right there, it just don't follow up. I mean, I get what you was doing with it, but it don't follow up. And the reason why.
Okay, let me ask you this question. If you had to replace him, who would you pick? Maybe Seth Rollins or John Cena, maybe?
Well, funny enough, because I was going to get to that, because that's why I was going to talk about it. Because the thing is, when I'm looking at this group right here that you have, funny enough, at least the reason why I'm picking Damian Priest out of it is because I can see if you put Drew, if you put Cody, and if you put Kevin in that, I can see where that follows up. Because even at a time where, like, let's say hypothetically, let's say Drew actually comes back, right, after being injured and all that, after the CM Punk match, he comes back. And let's say you did this co-op version of there's a revenge story against the Bloodline. because now they got forward and everything else and all this, and he just makes it even more sickening after being on the sideline and everything else. And he enforced Cody to get involved. He enforced Kevin Owens because Kevin Owens is an obvious choice. Those three work because the reason why you can see, like, even beforehand, like if you think about a lot of the conversations with Drew and then Cody, you hear that there's a decency of respect and a decency of understanding a lot of things. Whereas Kevin, that's an automatic because just look at where Kevin Owens at right now. He's ready for war. Mm-hmm. So if I had to change out Damian Priest, here's my only thing. I won't do, like, I guess you can say Seth Rollins because he's closest to the swagger at that point. And I guess
let me ask you another question now. If you had to pick your own 4 guys, forget my list, forget what Earthquake said upstairs, and forget what Southpaw, etc. Shut up over there.
King Kong.
Shut up.
Gorilla the Myth. I'm
going to mute you. So, who would your top 4 guys be?
As far as WWE?
Yeah. It can be any roster. SmackDown, NXT, or
no. It literally would have to be any roster amongst them. Because literally, I mean, oh my gosh. All right, hold on. Let me look at this. Oh my goodness! Look,
my point.
All right, so
but look, hold on,
hold on. Hey, so Paul will tell you, and Dave will tell you. I like finding shots. I like finding hard questions, hard discussions.
I like it too because I like this.
Yeah.
So for me, right, if I'm thinking about, because this is the tough part about building a team when you're asking for the whole shebang. So you can come back, have a basic conversation. Let me come back to it because I need some time.
Literally,
I need some time because here's another reason why I'm also gonna need time because we're talking about having an NWA type storyline. Because if we're talking about in WWE, you have to ask yourself who benefits more from this storyline, and then why would this be like pushed around somewhere else? Because you have to think about it too. If I'm doing this storyline, the beneficial part would come from at least NXT. Why? Because they already did the invasion, technically. They already set that up. So it has to be someone fresh, it has someone brand new. But that's the tough part. It's like, do you really want to do someone fresh and brand new? And then, of course, just look at that roster. The men's roster right now in NXT is not really that much of a great powerhouse for pets. But doesn't mean you can't find somebody if you do. So, but that's going to be that punch.
Okay, here's a question for everybody. And Paul, you can go first on this one because you've been too quiet for my taste. If you had to pick a storyline, shut up. If you had to pick a storyline between 2024 and between 1990 to add this new NWO, how would you do it and how would you create? Give me a story. You're Vince McMahon. I'm going, Mr. Paul. You're the boss man. You got the walk, you got the haircut. I mean, you don't have any haircut, but you know what I'm trying to say. You got the tie, you got all that stuff. You got your theme music hits like dun dun dun. Here's the theme music. You're coming down, all right? Go, hit your promo.
Oh my gosh.
It's hard to keep you.
Well, listen,
quiet.
I like the idea of having a grievance angle against the corporate, especially with the corporate takeovers, the acquisition of WWE and whatnot, and guys who basically over the last maybe 5 years got screwed the most. So I like the Owens angle. I like Drew McIntyre. I like kind of Randy Orton. Now I know he's always marketed himself as like the lone wolf, but there have been times in his career he just don't care about anybody. He'll go in and RKO anybody just because he'll do the. I used to love it when he used to do the punt, when he would take dudes out and whatnot. So he would be, a very dangerous person. I know I think he's on the injured roster right now, injured list or something like that. But
No, he's not.
but I think him and I know he was part of the original Nexus group from back in the day and whatnot. But I think certainly adding him.
He wasn't in the original Nexus. He just kind of like forced to join the Nexus, and he ended up beating one by
Okay.
Nexus members.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
he
yeah.
got
So, but if you
drafted.
had him and if you had CM Punk, I mean, who is agitated more in terms of storylines in the past than CM Punk, obviously, who's always been a thorn in the side of corporate. Then you got, again, Randy Orton, who's just a loose cannon, period. You don't know what motivates the guy. Like I said, he's always, he could just be, just because he's pissed off at somebody, he just want to take somebody out. And like I said, certainly Kevin Owens and Drew McIntyre. I mean, I can kind of see. Now, I think you also have to have look, we're in the 21st century now, so you have to bring in some women. So again, get a Rhea Ripley or someone like that. You have to bring the women into this mix, either the man or Rhea Ripley or someone like that. I think you need a female part of this team. Because look, the roster is basically, you got as many storylines in the women's division as you do in the men's. And if the goal is also to sort of dominate wrestling, how are you going to leave the women out?
Let me bring to your attention, Paul. You don't want to have CM Punk and Drew McIntyre in the same team because they have some deep-rooted hatred within themselves. So to have both in the same faction, that faction will implode.
But we've seen that work in the past, right? You had Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H join forces to what was that? What they called themselves? It wasn't the Clique. It was the
I get what you're saying.
I know what you're talking about, but they weren't a group though.
I'm saying they joined forces for a minute. They were part. They formed a faction. It didn't last very long.
Yeah, but it's not like they went together to do a match.
I get it. But I'm just saying. But other things have happened where you've had guys who've hated each other, whatever, and that would be part of the shock angle of it, right? When Vince and Stone Cold joined forces, right? That was like the biggest storyline. Is like they are total. This is the mongoose and the cobra, and then when they screwed The Rock at WrestleMania and they did that and the heel turn and he beat up JR on the Monday Night Raw that came after that, that is what took Stone Cold's hatred. He was the biggest anti-hero in WWE, and he became the biggest face and turncoat ever. So these things are certainly possible. So, and I think if you want to add some shock value, you have to do something where, again, these former guys join forces to everyone's shock and surprise. I can't believe these guys are working together now. And then make that work. But I think those guys, have the attitude in order to pull that off. But I think that trying to do this with 3 people, I think those days are over. It's got to be at least 4, if not 5 people. And again, what is the aim here? If it is to control the heavyweight championship, the tag team titles, maybe the U.S. championship or the world heavyweight, you still haven't really gotten to me, Peter, yet in terms of what is the goal of this organization. If you wanted exactly like what the NWO did, what was, again, to sow chaos. That was it. There was no real, I think Hogan liked being the champion. I think the Outsiders, Hall and Nash, I don't think they cared so much about the tag team bot, at least from what I recall. Like I said, I didn't follow it that closely, but I don't think they cared about that kind of stuff. It was just trying to just foul up everything. But if you're talking about more like along the lines of the Horsemen, yeah, I think you got to have some guys who are like, yeah, we're going to control every belt, every faction. I think the Bloodline came as close to it in the last 5-10 years that I've seen. And like I said, the last 3-person team that did any real damage in the WWE was the Shield, which I did like. But with so many factions and so many other storylines going on, I don't know how the Shield could be relevant in today's world. So the team has to be much bigger. And trying to do what you're saying with 3 people, that's very hard. I just can't see how you pull that off. And again, you got to have the women involved.
Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, because it's funny. Well, just to add to what Mr. Bennett said, because well, MW's main theme was 3 people, but they also had extras. Like they also had extenders to the group.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, it got crazy though. I mean, it had,
Yeah, it did, but
and
I
then
mean,
they split up, and he had the Wolf Pack versus the White, and all of that, and
It got way too much at one point.
yeah,
yeah,
Can we all agree on that?
definitely.
yeah. But I think like just looking at certain of the extenders, I mean, there are some extenders that were decent, so nothing like over the top, but just overall.
David, what do you think?
When looking to Paul and when he broke down and everything, I was like, he do have some solid point. But like I said earlier, it's hard to put CM Punk and Drew McIntyre when they have long-term beef now on within WWE and outside WWE. It's kind of hard to put them two together. Now I get it when you put Kevin Owens, but I also follow Kevin Owens' storyline, and it had been a heavy talk rumor. He want to write out the contract to join his original friend who are located where? AEW.
Which one are we talking
That
about?
I'm talking about the perfect example. The EXP, what's the name again? I keep forgetting the name. Used to call them join with me. Now they call themselves now at the greatest tag team champion of all time, the Young Bucks.
Okay.
And you have Mr. Boom, who they were all remember Kevin Owens original origin from Ring of Honor. He's from Ring of Honor Wrestling. That's who the originated from. This is why I mentioned all the multiple promotion. Him and that dude part of the Undisputed Kingdom plus what's his name again? I keep forgetting the name 'cause I don't like the Brethren Row, the Young Bucks. They're all in the same clique at one point. So when you trying to put Kevin Owens, I was like, well, ain't that door about to be out the door right now? 'Cause it's kind of hard. Then you look at the Bennett
I didn't
Knight.
know he was about to be out of the door, to be honest with you guys.
I've been paying attention to this a lot. And you look at the NXT. NXT finally Triple H have his best friend run the thing for him, but trying to make it better than what it was. But from the main category, who had that aura like saying, F you, I'm coming through and whooping ass. You can't
Oh,
go rock
shit.
shock. They barely anybody did. And then when I mentioned the original member of the Bullet Club, which are in WWE, that could pull it off, but it won't feel like NWO-ish. It'll be more like we've been Bullet Club here, but waiting for that right opportunity to come out and run. Remember, Bullet Club rough shot with every promotion, not just New Japan Pro Wrestling. They went to every promotion and rough shot with anybody. And remember, of all merch sale, Bullet Club merch sale was always number one for multiple years. You couldn't touch Bullet Club. And because of that, Vince McMahon put it at T to the T. You're not allowed to do this to the thing or say 2 3. They were doing other, but it's funny how when they come to WWE, they still do it among themselves whenever they get a chance to.
They do it
That's
on
what I'm
the air
saying.
sometimes now, too.
And I know, but this is what I'm trying to say. It's when you mention NWO, there had to be a reason. There had to be a claw. Because when NWO first created, they were shoved out. They were pissed over one individual alone, Vince McMahon. That was the sole reason why NWO came to existence. Now to do the same here, it's almost like, yeah, they're being screwed. Drew fitted, yes. Kevin question mark, yeah. If you put the present champion, he he got his apology. He got the belt. He's the face of the franchise right now. Maybe yet in his head he's the face of the franchise, but you're not the tribal chief. The tribal chief got way more pull than you.
See, I
Which
didn't pick
sucks.
Roman Reigns because he has his own tribe, his
No,
own thing.
you're not going to pick Roman, even though you wanted to. Here's the reason why. It has been a setup. The term tribal chief. And when somebody put on one podcast, the reason why he's doing what he's doing right now is to bring his whole entire wrestling family into the door. So to pull Roman Reigns from that and do it, it wasn't going to work. And when you talk about the Shield, yes, the Shield could have fit that. But for what I've seen from John Moxley, he wanted nothing to do because he felt like while he was here in WWE, they didn't give him credit control to what he wanted. They gave credit control to Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. We were like a slap on his face, like, oh, I'm the joke now? F you. That was the issue. And what he did after that, he proved that he can do without WWE. He got a championship belt in WWE, AEW, and New Japan Pro Wrestling. How many other wrestlers do the same thing that John Moxley? So if you think about the stock market, John Moxley is greater than Roman Reigns. Even though you had the championship for 4 years and you did it that way so you could make him be like he's the king, but John Moxley was the king of 3 other different promotions while he was still acting in AEW at the same time. He proved a point. I could get any championship belt in any major promotion and still prove I can't be touched. Now he had his own faction going on in AEW. So it kind of when I look at wrestlers and what the task you gave me, who can we recreate NWO 2.0? It's almost hard to find the actual piece that will fit it properly. And you don't want it to repeat the same bullshit that NWO did back then, whereby it being copied in the Bloodline storyline right now. The Bloodline Civil War, which is like the Avengers Civil War kind of thing. They now have Big Bronson Reed in 2.0. So the first thing came out, who go even that one out? And I know they might do that thing, but they have, rumor has it, he might join the sick Wyatt team. So,
I haven't heard that rumor yet.
it's still obvious. If you watch Friday Night SmackDown, who joined the new Bloodline 2.0? Big Bronson Reed. Who has the same power or physical prowess that can match that? Anybody?
Go ahead.
Ooh, Big Bronson Reed?
Yeah. They pick Bronson is not part of the Bloodline 2.0.
Oh, no, I know. I mean,
So
you're talking about power.
who can rival him right now in the lineup so far from Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, and NXT? Who think he can do damage to him?
I mean, right now, no one's available.
No, there's one name, but he haven't popped up yet. Who that is?
Well, I have one option, but I'm not taking him from NXT, though.
Who from NXT?
The only one I would give up is if I go to NXT and choose this one person, this would only be Opa Femi. Literally. For me.
Oba Femi not gonna join the Bloodline.
Well, I know that, but you're asking from a choice.
To NWO, it won't be an NWO thing because for some reason I've been keeping quiet. I've been paying close attention. Where Oba Femi origin from?
Well, I know that.
He's a Nigerian, right?
Yeah.
How many other Nigerian wrestlers are in the WWE right now as we speak besides Oba Femi?
About a few.
Austin Creed and one other person that have not shown his face. He had a dreadlock unless he cut it.
No.
And
There's a couple.
you have Amos. All 4 of them are all Nigerian. So if
are you suggesting, David, a Nigerian faction that comes up in so in possibly a Nigerian versus Samoan ethnic
that would
rivalry?
Be nice. That would be nice.
I talked about that on another person's wrestling show that I partner with.
That would be nice because Obafemi, no offense, the way he be throwing wrestler, I'm like, God damn, you making me look bad too. Feel like I might do the same to Ghost of Sparta that's playing. keep calling me an earthquake. I said, okay, I'll be an earthquake. Turn into a hurricane then. What's next? That's playing. But you get my point. You have 4 powerhouses who are Nigerian, including Austin Creed. And they even tried to do that faction, but only with 2 men. It was not enough. Now you have Obafemi. Then you have, if you can retrain almost properly how to wrestle properly, then it could work. But here's the problem. 4 is not enough compared to how many you have in the Bloodline right now. 10, 12, 13.
Oh, it's 1.
Yeah, but that's only if they stand
but
together.
it's 1. But here's the problem. They have more coming in through the back door because they're coming from Booker T five-time promotion quietly, and one or two are coming from New Japan Pro Wrestling. They already signed it, but when are they popping up? I don't know. So
They're gonna
the
be
thing
popping
is,
up around. They're gonna be more on the NXT bound, so they're not popping no time soon.
no, not gonna throw them down to NXT. They did that with
You
Solo.
sure about that? That's what they've
Uh,
been saying.
yeah, but they did that with Solo, right? What did they do with Solo? Hey, Solo,
Yeah, but
you can be
Solo's a
NXT.
different case, though.
Oh, hold on. Oh, okay, wait. So Solo in a different case. What about what are the two guys' names? Who the Bloodline 2.0? What is
Talking
them
about
again?
Tom, you mean Tama Tonga and Tongaloo?
Yeah. What about that big? What about the younger brother who's tall as hell? So he'll go to
Yeah, I know,
NXT
I
and
know,
wait.
I know who you're talking about.
He not going to NXT.
You
What
sure
about the
about
other?
that?
What about the other Fatu who close to Jacob Fatu? You think he's going to go straight to NXT? Like, come
Oh,
on.
well, I wasn't talking about them though. I wasn't talking about Zilla Fatu and the other guy. But again, they're saying that about him though. If that was the case, he would have been popped up for them already.
I know, but this is why I'm saying this NWO question is so hard to fill out because there's too many variables that it's blocking it. It is
I'm
because
sorry, but
it's one of its kind, but hard to implement. And remember what I say, Nexus made it look bad to do that same idea again. After Nexus screwed up, then we have this one with the Ninja Turtle mask. Sorry, I'm just throwing all kind of jokes on that one. Imagine that other character, Slapnut. What kind of name is Slapnut? To the day I still understand who wrote that script. That was ridiculous. So now you want to create another NWO 2.0 to fit. It's almost hard, like you cannot find the right one to. It's like no, we can't even touch this. It's really hard to be honest with you. It's a cool idea to do an NWO 2.0, but who would do it properly? There had to be a single person whom we target and say, do what? It will cut to your ass or F you. It's kind of hard to get that. The only one who can do that right now are the original member of the Bullet Club who are making second, they're not main eventer right now. Finn Balor, AJ Styles, Luke Galloway, Carl Anderson. There go your four right there and there. And yank the two. It's hard to yank the two from the Bloodline 2.0 to join in because they're also original members of the Bullet Club, and their younger tall brother is also original member of the Bullet Club.
so pause.
Let me ask you a question. I'm going to throw you guys a different question. Okay, we know we're missing one more member of Roman Reigns, OG bloodline. Who do you think they're going to put him in there for the person? Because he really doesn't have any friends on the roster. Let's be honest.
He doesn't, and Braun Strowman would have been a more logical answer, but no.
Nah, he has his own thing going on right now.
Yeah, the only thing going on, but Ruben had don't have him go join the YX6.
That I can see.
They should never let that re-happen, but oh well.
Let's hope it doesn't. But who
I mean,
rival? But who have the strength and the power to go against Big Bronson Reed? Let's be honest now. Who do you
but
think will
that's
be a
the thing.
threat?
But see, that's the thing with well, I know y'all call it New Bloodline. I call them Bloodline Mafia. But the thing is with them is, oh yeah, there's a reason why I call them that. There's a reason why I call them that. There's a reason why I call them that. If you haven't missed it, then that's your choice.
You talk
But
about one of them the other brothers who keep on botching.
well, no, not that. No,
Oh,
I call them that because they tend to wear suits. So I like to call them Bloodline Mafia.
Bloodline Mafia. Okay.
Yeah, and plus it keeps it a little bit more fresh. So I like to keep it that way. But I mean, generally, yeah, like I said, there is no one on the main roster really to equal in size of power. I mean, literally, the only way you do that in equal size of power, if you take one of those, brothers off of the tag team that is run by who is it run by right now? That's run by Karrion Kross. You take one of those tag team dudes, and then
It's not gonna work.
I know that, but that's what I'm saying. But you're talking about equaling power. That's the only way you would do that.
Yeah,
But
I see what you're saying, but those two are a package deal right there and there.
I understand that.
So there's no way of separating
That's what
those
I'm trying to tell
two.
you. I understand that, but I'm saying
So
we're
beside those two,
we're comparing
who else
powers.
fit, beside those two, who else fit the criteria?
But that's what I'm saying. No one. As far as main roster, no one. Because at best, all you're gonna do at that point is just say, well, you're just putting whoever fits the bill, and that is just based upon the heat, based upon the aggression, based upon all that. And most people are saying that go for Seth Rollins just based on story,
It's
which
not gonna
that is
work.
not great.
And
Again,
my idea to throw in the bloodline. I know this name is the most conflicting name. You can't even throw Drew McIntyre into that mix because Drew McIntyre is a threat himself, but he want to kick woman's head off for the longest, so that's not gonna work either.
Do you think they bring their uncle in for one match?
Who's uncle?
Think about it. Their twins, father.
talking about Rikishi, they're
Yeah.
not doing that. They're not doing that. In
No,
that
I'm asking
environment,
you guys.
no,
I'm
they're not
sorry.
doing that. I mean, in
I
that
don't think so
environment,
either.
yeah, they're not doing that.
Because I'm looking through the roster list, and I don't see nobody qualified to get that fifth position. The only one
That's
I
the
can see
point.
maybe, but I don't see him coming back for two reasons. One, because he's making movies that suck right now, and
Who?
B, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You smell it?
Batista?
The
No,
Rock.
Really?
not
Oh,
Batista.
The Rock. I don't see The Rock teaming
no.
up with Roman's side. I think he's gonna go with the other side if he had a pick.
Rock is not doing it. Rock is like the final. Remember, he called himself final boss.
Yeah, but and that's the weird thing about him is like I would thought he would have been the fifth member for Solo, but it's like okay, that flipped on a whole new page.
I think he didn't do it because of commitment time.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
Even in commitment time, he had a problem with Bronson Reed. I could have sworn, you know, he's from Australia. Are you sure he's not Samoan?
Hold on, let me go check that.
Because I know, according to the Samoan clan, they spread
Nope,
around in multiple.
he's Australian.
I know he's an
Yeah.
Australian, but his tattoo is almost thrown off. Like, yo, are you really Australia
He
or
might be
you?
he might be Maori, but I don't know about it.
Well, he might have a small percentage.
Maybe so because
Yeah,
the way he
but
come up, he
he has
right
one
now.
other guy that they have not brought in yet. And I think he might be a good fit. Alpha, man, I'm gonna pronounce his fucking wrong
Hey,
name. Alpha Anong Jr.
I'm not sure. Do the Fire podcast. He got a ticket for Royal Rumble already, nigga. You want to get into the conversation? Drop him the link.
The link is in there.
Let's see.
Drop him the link because, like I said, I have to be watching the product
Here,
long
I
enough.
put it. I will put it down in the chat again. I have it in there. I got it pinned
And
to the top.
just like Wally, I'm trying to figure out who will fit the criteria because I was like, damn. Now you just made it
I mean,
real
it's definitely
bad.
going to be someone from the outside because there's not going to be no one inside. If they do
And
someone
that,
inside, then they already ruined it with Seth Rollins. It's just the truth.
no, several are not going to fit.
Say what you wish, but that. Oh, all right, watch. Say what you wish,
Dude,
but I've seen WWE play these cards
I,
over and
I,
over. And over.
I
I
know
make
they
each
play
call.
I know they play the card, but here's the problem is their bloodline war. Their bloodline storyline is their biggest cash cow. They're not going to F it up right now. And the fact that you have Big Bronson Reed and you see how Jacob Fatu, they look like, oh, we can do damn. I'm like, oh, you gonna put two big men like, dude, backflip and the, like, come on. They're like saying, okay, you are the wrecking crew. On one side, we have Big Bronson Reed. On the other side, we have Jacob Fatu. Their job is go to NXT and destroy everybody to give that intimidation fear. Like, if you think you got the ball, we will cut your balls. So who is going to rival those two in the package under the bloodline mafia? This is why I say when I watch wrestling, I understand the story. I look and I try to find who outside can fit that. Who has that? Ah, it's kind of hard to find it. It really is. It's extremely hard right now because one of the biggest issues they had for the past couple of years is creating new wrestlers, creating new characters. That's why they're doing this WWE ID thing going on. But the WWE ID pissed off the folks in the UK because when they had the NXT UK, you took most of the talent from the other promotion and said, no, we're going to shut down NXT UK. That was a dumb and bullshit to do. And you combine both belts. So to find someone who will join the bloodline, OTG bloodline, the original, to rival that of the extra manpower, it's almost impossible to think of any logical fit in that. Yes, Author of Pain, those two are big dude. That's the group name of that tag team. But you can't take one without the other. That even made it worse. And they don't work with any other group except you know who. So this is like I'm glad I'm not a creative writer on the WWE because this is something that I'm sure they'll be thinking for the past couple of weeks or months. How do we fix this? How do we find the right character to fit the narrative? Because to be honest, right now, shit. Am I wrong? Well, no, tell me if I'm wrong. What I'm gonna say right now, because I'm looking at everything like a scientist, like a doctor. Like how you fit this part, how you make it better. You don't want to make it worse.
I hear what you're saying, but because like I said, I talk wrestling on another channel. Like we said, between me and the guy, we make calls every single time we guess it, and we most of the time call it one way or another. So again, WWE's in a predictable time these days, and it's on the weirdest tips. So yeah, that's how I leave it. I'm so good checking how to do this.
Let me drop the link on my channel because this conversation, I'm not gonna lie. As much as I love wrestling growing up since I was a kid, and I pay attention to every small detail about it, I start to look at it like this is not cool. This is not fair. Like
It's a
how you
lot
do
of
this?
question marks here we have, and we have to figure that. We'll never figure it out. Unfortunately, it's something that's a fantasy debate, and it's
You know,
Yeah,
the
and
fantasy
yeah, but
debate.
you
Any
you
podcast
have to
will be
ask
in the
the
same boat
question
that we
whether or
are.
not is this for today. I mean, again, what you're asking for, just like wrestling had the territory days, which I grew up on, just like you had the mergers, the attitude era. I mean, things I think have to run their course. So trying to go back and bring something up that might have once was. I don't know if that's the direction where things are going. Or maybe a better question would say, based on what you guys know. So I'll play since you guys got more certainly with the new product than I do at this point. Like I said, I'm almost a casual at this point.
Right.
What is your current attitude on the current product as is, or how do you think it could be improved? And I'm talking
David, you wanna go
WWF
first?
specific. I'm not talking about AEW or any other promotions or whatever. But where do you think the state of wrestling is today, and where would you like it improved? Do you think even if you did bring back a faction of some kind, whether it be whatever you want to call it, NWO, whatever it is, is that what? Do you think is that what wrestling needs at this point, or are you mostly satisfied with the current product? So maybe for me, that's more of a question because again, I think you guys are certainly keep up on certainly on a weekly basis more than I do. I come in maybe once a month, once something, or if my daughter pulls me into something, because she follows this like regularly. But
Religiously, right?
maybe so
I'll make it quick. It's only one faction, but I don't think Triple H would do it. It bring the Bullet Club into WWE because you have
no, I get
already
that.
most of, it's kind of hard. But any other factor beside that, it kind of like I said, what is the reason why they need to exist? What they
Right.
what the main objective? What are the main goals? What is tying these people together? So it's kind of hard to think of any right now. Because right now you have faction war going on both in WWE and in AEW
Right, but
heavily.
David, I'm asking you to take the conversation outside of the factions. I'm saying the current product as it is. Do you like it? Do you not like it? What could be different? How would you improve it? Because again, it could very well be that a faction may not be what it needs. It may need something else. Maybe the storylines need to be better or whatever it is. But again, if you could do a Thanos snap
I would
and
say this
change the
right now.
current
They need to
products,
have more
what would you
creative.
change?
Those who are not part of the main storyline, they need more creative impact. Because for what I'm looking right now, it seems to me only a very select few are giving way more TV time than everybody else. Yeah, you're right. You need to be more consistent. It had to make sense. But the thing is, we have talent who can do well with a particular storyline, but they're not using it properly
Mhm.
like you should be. I'm watching NXT more than enough, and I'm like, there's something missing here with the storyline. Something's off. You're like, who's writing these characters' storyline? Like, for real, what's up? And no offense, this present market of wrestling, Tony Khan, get some writers on your board, please, because you got a lot of talent in there, and it kind of like you let it be on the one side of thing right now. They're trying to do the same thing we're talking about right now over there in some kind of speak, and you got Owen Cassidy as the leader, really.
So you're at this point, you're not satisfied with any of the major promotions at this point.
No,
They all got
I'm satisfied
you
to a
got
certain
critique for all of
degree.
them.
WWE is doing better than it was before, yeah. AEW, it slightly missed the mark. TNA, okay, you're giving people a chance to
Hey.
reinvent themselves, right? Cool. New Japan Pro Wrestling, all right, I'll give you that. Noah, so-so. Triple A, like, yo, what's up? What's going on with you? That's the thing, because now they're allowing collaborators to go on a lot more than they used to. But my thing is, something's still missing. There's something I don't know. I'm trying to put my
The
finger
F
on it,
factor.
but it's
Not
Oh,
hard.
what
the F factor.
you're
You're
not.
missing the F factor.
Well, not even just the factor, but here's the real thing that they're missing. None of these stories really hit where you're talking about. Think about the Bloodline story right now, right? You're on a mission think about what happened, right? When you got Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes going against Solo and Jacob Fatu. And then you get Jimmy Uso back into the fray. Think about that moment. There is not enough emotion to this. Like, you're trying to sell the biggest face turn ever. You're trying to sell this big commodity, trying to bring that love back. You're trying to bring that all back. You ain't selling it right. The Jay thing, horrible. The interest trying to bring Jay back was horrible. Then you have to think about it again. Even to the point when you get Sami Zayn, and then you're talking about Sami Zayn's like, oh, I want an apology, but not for me, for him. And it's still weak. What are we doing here? You can't sell that. No. How you
All
gonna
right,
sell
guys,
a
hang
great
on a second. Hang on a second. TJ, what's going on, my man? Welcome.
Oh
Hey,
boy.
I'm
Good
over
to
here
see you,
still
man.
trying.
Long time. How are you?
Good. How you doing, Mr. Bennett? Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
Yeah,
we
sir.
can.
I
Yes,
hear
sir. It's
you.
great
Yeah,
seeing you, brother.
I'm over here trying to get set up. I'm dropping my remote controls and stuff.
Nah, you
And
look great.
and
Those
and you
belts,
should
those
not
belts look
the
beautiful
belt
too.
beside him. I'm like,
He came prepared. I didn't know he was coming on. You guys bells are hooked up back there. I'm like, he's entering. He's
I
entering
love it.
music and fireworks, and he's ready to go.
I got some interest music. Got my own. I got my own Through Your Fire podcast interest music. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I got, man. Look, I'm. Yeah, as a 40-something-year-old man, it's hard to. The older you get, you got to keep on the wraps how much of a wrestling fan you are. I got a whole belt collection. Listen, this IC belt, you guys can't see it that good. Actually, it just came in 2 days ago. I had it custom made. It's a Rickety Dragon Steamboat tribute IC belt.
Oh, wow.
So it's got
Nice.
like dragon scales on it, got a dragon on it, all this kind of stuff.
That is awesome.
Next week, I got the Undisputed belt. I got the Undisputed belt that Cody's carrying right now. So I got a custom one coming in. It's gold with tribal print with Cody and Roman nameplates on it. That's coming in next week.
damn.
Yeah, I got it in the big gold right here behind me. The Carmine actually had it made. Yeah,
That's
didn't
what
go buy
I
it.
want to get eventually. Put it right in my background.
Yeah, I got the Carmine. I got it made to to the specs of the original Crumb Ride. But my nameplate, unfortunately, is not Ric Flair. I got Booker T because he was the last champion to actually hold the original Crumb Ride. He was the last champion to hold it, so I got the Booker T nameplate for it. But I got a bunch of belts though.
Oh, nice, brother.
That's cool, man.
Now we need to have you for the next co-host for the wrestling.
Yeah, every time I get another grand, I go order me. I get me custom belt. Give me a custom belt made.
That's me with lightsabers.
Yeah, I said you guys talk wrestling. I was like, I'm jumping up. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just jumping up because, yeah. I put in the chat. I'm going to the Royal Rumble. I went to SummerSlam in Cleveland.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I almost got into it with the security guard because I had tickets on ringside, and they wouldn't let me on the field. Yeah, it was a problem. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm only 3 hours away from Indianapolis for Royal Rumble. So I'm going to Royal Rumble. I got my tickets, got my hotel room. I'm in the hotel that's attached to the Lucas Stadium. So I'm like, I ain't even got to go nowhere because there's a walkway from the hotel into the Lucas Stadium. So I'm good.
Oh, nice.
Highlight the last one. I don't think that could.
And I'm sitting on the ramp.
Oh, we're gonna see you on TV probably.
Yeah, definitely. Be watching for that.
Really?
Go ahead, David. What do you guys think?
Well, hang on. Do we need to frame this conversation for our guest?
Yeah.
So basically, the main theme of the show was try to bring back an NWO type faction to the current product.
We have it already.
Is it possible? Okay, so if you have it already, so what do you think that is? How do you think it could be improved? And just the general state of the product as it stands right now, how do you think it could be better? So those are the questions on the table. So everyone's thinking about, if you're going to bring a new faction. Me personally, I did. It's hard for me to come up with this list because I think there's so many factions already.
Yeah.
And so it'd be hard to bring that back. But what do you think? What would
Well, for me, I wouldn't try to bring back a faction because you said NWO type. If they actually pass War Games, keep Bronson Reed, that's your NWO faction because they're cool. The Solos faction is cool. You know what I mean? I'm so happy to root against them, which makes them cool. You know what I mean? Because when you got a faction or a group or even an individual wrestler that you really want to root against, then they're doing something special. So it took me a while to really jump on the bandwagon with the Solo thing because he just didn't have that gravitas, whatever. But as he added, when he brought in Jacob Fatu, that killed the game. Now, the one thing that I wish that they wouldn't have done with Jacob, I wish they wouldn't have got him and Roman physical yet. I still wish they would have held off for maybe to after the Rumble to make them actually be physical with each other. But they've been physical with each other for a few times because that would have been very, very special. And after watching this week's SmackDown and seeing Bronson Reed, the image of him with the bloodline, with the new bloodline, good God. I mean, talking about a monster push with, yeah. And make it so bad, the original bloodline looks weak. And I don't know if it's by design, but I'm loving it. I'm loving watching Roman at this stage fight as an underdog. I love it. I love it that they're whooping his ass every week because I think it really... No, I'm from a fan standpoint because eventually Roman and the original bloodline is they're going to get their just due. But watching this build the way it's building and making superstars out of Bronson and Jacob and Solo and the Tongan boys, this is some good old school 1980s work right now that they're doing with the WWE. And you could thank Triple H for that, even though I didn't think he was going to be that great of a creative director. But but you can see what happens when you remove Vince McMahon. Yeah.
No doubt.
Another idea will be they took the idea, shifted, and gave it to the bloodline. Why did they went to AEW?
So,
That was the
TJ,
that
let
was
me
the
ask you a
main
question real
reason.
Wait,
fast.
wait a minute. MVP.
Let me ask TJ a question real fast before we go ahead. I asked a question earlier. Who do you think the fifth member of the bloodline, the OG bloodline, will be? I
Who
have
do
an
I
idea.
think it will be, or who do I think it should be?
Both.
It's going to be Seth Rollins.
I agree.
Thank you. What I'm trying to tell you, you gotta look at the script. You gotta look at the script. I'm trying to tell you. Look at the script. You can say what you want. Look at the script.
Now,
Yeah, but
who it should be. Granted, we're just friends. We're not like wrestling bookers and stuff like that. Who it should be The Rock with a turn on Roman at War Games.
Thank you.
That's who it should be.
I like that idea. I ain't gonna lie. I like.
I said it earlier, didn't I?
I didn't see that. I didn't see that part that way.
Because you know what? That actually makes a lot of sense because right now he's the only option he has, and we don't know where The Rock is as far as mentality towards the bloodline and the whole thing that's going on.
This is coming out that the new bloodline is The Rock's. That's
been confirmed a long time ago.
Yeah,
that's been confirmed a long time ago. But
when he came out, he just looked at him.
Set up, he's his only option because if you saw what happened Friday,
they need to do Rock. They need to do Rock and Roman at Mania because they were a year too late on it. They should have did it the year, not this last year, but the year before. They're a year too late. They screwed it up this last year, and this is a nice creative way to bring that back around. But what should be the fifth member should be The Rock. Should be the fifth member with a turn inside of War Games against Roman, which will then set them up for a road to Mania. But then I don't know what we do with Cody on the way, with the undisputed title on the way to Mania. I don't know who challenges him. I don't know who,
well,
I kind of hate that they.
Problem,
I kind of hate Gunther didn't go over in Saudi Arabia. I hate that.
Thank you.
Because it wouldn't have hurt Cody to put Gunther over. It wouldn't have hurt him at all. It actually would have added some intrigue. You know what I mean? And something that they could circle back to down the line. But so because if they're going to do Rock Roman at Mania the way I think it's going to unfold, then it takes a little bit of shine off of the undisputed title, which is the key title in the WWE. No disrespect to the world title. If they were going to bring back the world title, they should have brought back the world title.
I don't like this title, how design is. I think it's an ugly design.
Well, here's where they did a disservice to it. If they were going to redesign the big gold, what they ended up doing was trying to create a new legacy with Seth being the first champion. They screwed the pooch on that. They could have did a history of the Crumb Ride, history of the champions. It has a longer legacy and a more deep legacy than the actual WWE title. And they could have did that with the Steamboats, the Flairs, the Ronnie Garvers. I'm bringing people up that, you know what I mean, that really held that title. The Dusty Rhodes. That would have had a better setting up them bringing in the world title back into the picture instead of creating this new world title legacy, which is going to take. It's kind of like what they did when they brought in the Universal title. They brought in this title, and it took them so long. And the reason why they had to put it on Brock and keep it on him for so long was to establish it. You know what I mean? And I'm kind of glad Finn did get hurt and wasn't able to defend it because they had to put it on the guy that actually could establish it. And it didn't become like the title to have until Roman had it for the length of time that he had. So, yeah.
Solid point. You got a solid point because I was thinking about it. Yeah, without moving like this.
Yeah, I got it. I think Vince put the title in Seth Jam, made this Roman a godlike figure. He couldn't get it. That's the only option he had. I think Triple H is doing a pretty good damn job so far. I like his creative, to be honest with you guys.
Triple H
don't give it.
Triple H understand wrestling way better than Vince McMahon does, and he already had an eye
He's
for
a
that.
wrestler. That's why.
That's the reason why. That's number one. But number two, there was other wrestlers that did not like how they were trying to shove the dildo of Roman Reigns behind. What name would that be? Oh, that would be John Cena with that little mic beat down he was giving Roman Reigns. When Roman didn't know how to put himself together and was getting destroyed by. We all know John Cena is known for one thing only: bodying characters who not worth being in the franchise. Meaning, when he come with his mic bombs, he literally destroy you. Literally, I don't think anybody who's as vicious as John Cena will come to the mic. CM Punk may be to a certain degree, but what John Cena does, he make you look real bad and put you on the spot though. If you don't have the, and I think that was a good lesson for Roman Reigns that he know how to be himself, being his own character after that little experience, so to speak. But right now, when you say The Rock, I was like, when you put The Rock there, everybody will catch on to, yeah, he gonna betray them anyway. But I'm looking at someone who can rival the manpower. Because let's be honest, TJ will tell you this: Jake Fatu and Bronson Reed is like the transformer version of the wrecking crew. They're gonna wreck everybody easy with those two. Cause you see the look they had on their face on Friday night, they were like, yeah, we would have fun this bitch. And go on about what do you think they did?
I didn't hear that last
From
part.
I said you will agree with me when they brought Jacob Big Bronson Reed into the team on Friday. And
Yeah,
you see the look on both of them have. Jacob Fatu and Bronson Reed would be what they call the wrecking crew.
yeah,
You take those two, throw them on NXT, and everybody will get decimated.
yeah. I'm not a fan of NXT, but yeah, I can understand. Yeah, they'll run through anybody on NXT. But
Just those two alone.
this new version of the Bloodline, I like it with Bronson Reed because they alluded the fact that he's joining the Bloodline, but then they went back and said they're referring to him as the fifth member, fifth, partner. But I would love it if he's an actual Bloodline member. And
They will make
Solo's
him
building his bloodline, not
Uh,
necessarily by blood either, because the Tungans are not technically blood.
They're not blood. But if you know what Jay said, there's a reason why they don't bring Tonga into the mix because they're from a different family. There's something
yeah, they're
about that
different.
particular family. So the way I look at it, there's more depth to this storyline to what we know.
I mean,
You can
that's
you,
that's a
you
bit
can say
confusing.
because
When you say the Tongans, we're not talking about the Snooker family, right?
No, we're talking
Okay.
about not Haku. What's their
Roman Reigns and
father
those guys.
name? What's the Tongans' daddy
Sika
name?
and
No,
No,
those are the
that's
Samoans.
Romans. The Tongans are with they're Haku.
Haku.
Yeah,
Haku.
Yeah,
Haku.
okay.
They're Haku. Those are
His
Haku's
folks.
kids.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the reason why I said is because you got to really think about it. I mean, I don't think so. That's more of that's an outside story. Like, there's some bad blood there. I think because you got to think about it too. When you look at other interviews, when Jacob's talking about it and breaking down the family ties and all that, no, I think they did that because it's a nice sort of element. Because you're thinking about it. Think about it. There's like tribes. You got to think about it like that. So they're bringing that type of element and they're like cinching at it. So that's one thing you got to think about too. It's not like, they just did that because there's some deeper into it. Like, no, I don't think so. It's like that.
I understand.
Now,
I understand when you broke
you
down the
do
tribe.
know
Because
you do know Solo and Jacob Fatu are cousins.
Right. We all know.
They're blood cousins. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, that's what I'm saying. That story, they just did that just to hype it up, but it's not really anything.
don't think I'm pissed about the whole bloodline storyline. There's no female added to the group. And you have on time, you have 2 or 3 other people who could have fit the narrative. You have the queen, which is the champion.
Cool.
And you had
What about Nia Jax?
Nia Jax.
Nia Jax could have fit the bloodline from the female side of things. And her cousin, who had to retire, could have been a cool one. But you can't put Naomi because Naomi is not really.
No, Naomi is
Well, Naomi's married to Jimmy, so
She's a
technically
bloodline member.
married.
Yes.
Yeah, she's a bloodline. But the thing when I'm talking about the flowers. The rum shaker thing, it don't seem bloodline-ish. Throwing the
No,
way in all the time.
they actually had, and I want to get too far off the topic. A couple years ago, they actually had an opportunity to bring Naomi into the bloodline. I don't know if you guys remember this. Naomi
Briefly, I remember it.
At the peak of the bloodline's domination, Naomi was out there losing rapidly. She kept losing, and kept losing. What Roman could have did to bring her into the bloodline was turn to Jimmy and say, get your wife is embarrassing the bloodline. Get her together. That would have made sense a few years ago to bring Naomi into the bloodline. You know what I mean? Because she was out there getting her ass whooped. She was out there getting dog walked. She was out there embarrassing the family name. Roman could have, Roman being the dick that he is, could have turned to Jimmy and was like, your wife is out here, embarrassing the family. Get your woman together or I will. You know what I mean? Kind of a deal.
That could have been the right time right then and there.
They were hinting towards it. They were hinting towards it, but they never went with it. And I wish they would have went with it because Naomi is such a good athlete. All of this bubbly glow bullshit need to go.
And that's the problem right there. Did she wanted that to go? Because I don't think so. Personally, I hear what you're saying, and I know that they were trying to do that like way back. But the thing is, here's the issue: WWE really don't really hit on the family ties stuff in wrestling. If they did, let's be honest. Look how much relationships that are in WWE right now, and they don't hit on none of those. So I just couldn't see it.
But there are no family ties. It's massive.
I would have loved Naomi more than Nia Jax. I would have loved Naomi more than Nia Jax because she brings so much, as far as her in-ring work. She, and I'm kind of interested to see what's going to happen with her and this situation with Bianca and Jade coming up because I think that's headed for a complete disaster at some point. I mean, Jade Cargill, you're going to have to turn her because she's no good as a face. You're going to have to turn
Naomi?
Jade Cargill.
No, Jade Cargill.
No, Jade Cargill.
She's no good as a face. She's no good as a face. You need to turn.
I keep hearing people say that, and personally,
as much as I hate AEW and what they do, they handle Jade Cargill correctly. She's the only star that they handle correctly. Jade Cargill is a total monster, and they need to turn her to capitalize. And I know what they're doing. They're getting her. They got her with Bianca to get her ready. They're grooming her. Instead of putting her in NXT and grooming her, they're grooming her in real time in front of us. You know what I mean? Unlike they normally would take her to NXT, but she's such a physical presence. You can't not put that on the main roster. I mean, there's just no way. You see that girl is godly. You know what I mean? So you got to put her out there. But eventually they got to turn her loose. But we'll see what's going to happen. I think eventually they're going to add a woman to the bloodline because there's too much clamoring for it. You know what I mean? Whether it be Nia Jax or they bring back Tamina or whatever the case may be, they're going to add a lady.
I don't care who they're bringing.
I think that's a bust. I think they missed that opportunity. Because the only way I see that they bring female bloodline is because I remembered Naomi, not Naomi, but Nia Jax mentioned the twin sister Samoan team that's out there.
There's another one. Yeah, I know
so,
you're another promotion.
From that part, I can see that. But then even then, it's like right now, the quote unquote female bloodline story, like let's be honest, right now, the women's division of it all is literally at its pinnacle, and you haven't shoot it yet. So at this point, I believe they're going to be missing that right now. So it's not even big enough for them to even care for it. And even if you did it, okay, so you bring in Naomi, okay, and then what else? You're gonna do who? Pretty much Nia Jax. Okay, we see where that goes every single time. Like, what are we talking about?
I like Nia. I'm sweet on Nia.
So it's like
Nia's like a wrecking ball. She She do well when she wreck people up. And they need another wrecking ball. Because the way I hate to say this, the new bloodline is too perfect.
It's too
It would have
perfect.
been perfect if they got Solo's version of NXT, because this
No, no, no,
version
no.
main roster is not that great.
No, here's the thing. You have Solo, you have the Tonga Boys, you have Jacob Fatu, and you have Big Bronson Reed. Who wants to mess with that faction?
Oh, I know. No, I get
Nobody.
what you're saying. Oh, I know. I get that part.
Nobody. That is a recipe for disaster for any faction right now. Because
Speaking of Nia Jax, do you guys think WWE missed an opportunity not bringing Awesome Khan back? I always want to see those two go at it.
they've been missed a long time.
I know,
They've
but that's still a story. And I know she had personal stuff going on, all that stuff. But I think they should have did something to bring it back in. But I think that would have been
on
hot.
purpose. They did it on purpose because remember, the woman they didn't want to promote certain African American wrestler to the front line, so to speak. But when she went to TNA, you notice she was a terror in TNA.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, seeing her, because I mean, it was different. You know, seeing Nia Jax squash everybody else. I mean, I didn't necessarily find those that entertaining. But her against Kong, that would have been, certainly the two titans going at it. I would have loved to have seen that.
And then
but
the reason
I
why
think that was
I
a
had to
missed
agree with
opportunity.
TJ. Jay Cargill picked up Nia Jax and threw her over the rope like, bitch, just because you big, I got your number. Make it off. That right there, they put. And the thing is, as a tag team, yeah, they look like they're babyface, but I hate to say this, Jay Cargill and Bianca look way better when they are here because, let's be real, I've seen Bianca when she beyond pissed, and she was not trying to be a babyface, and she had that look that when you make her a heel, have both of them be heel. You know how many women will be running away hiding from them?
I mean, technically, they already did that already. Just look at what happened on WWE. You had both Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan ran away.
That's a mix. Yeah, no, that right there is a start because there's a mix match. Because let's be real, I hate to say that Raquel can only do so much by herself. But you deal with two powerhouse, and your partner is a mouse.
Yeah.
And she only using you to protect her from another monster who the Eradicator.
Absolutely.
Who got some issues. She just like to headbutt people to the point where she got to wear a face mask now. Like,
let's be honest. Most of the ladies wrestlers are sloppy, with the exception of maybe like three. For me, a lot of them are hard to watch. Raquel Rodriguez is hard to watch. I hate watching the big women with the little bitty women. It's awkward. It works differently with the men, but the women are always hesitant and it looks sloppy. It look like that they're trying too hard. The women that work well, you got your the women that are beyond all the other women are Charlotte, Rhea, Bianca when she's paired the right way, Bailey when she's paired the right way. Even though I can't stand Bailey, I like to look at her ass, but that's about it.
Did you like the man?
I did not like Becky. The tiny women like Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, Becky Lynch.
What?
They're too tiny to be believable. When they go up against people like Raquel Rodriguez, Nia Jax, and are beating them, it's hard to swallow that. I know it's you got to suspend reality.
Yeah, that's the David and Goliath story, though. There you go.
I know, but we got that.
I think that's the trend right now.
Right.
I think that's the trend right now in WWE with using small women to kick big women's asses. And
in real life,
I see where you're going. I see where I do understand where you're going from.
Hey,
and it seems. Go ahead.
Is Nia Jax still wrestling?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought
shout out to Mandrell for certainly joining the
She was out for a moment, but she came back.
Hey, if I listen, guys, I need to bounce real quick, but because Mandrell joined the show, Mandrell, I tried to tell you, bro.
Listen, Mr. Bennett.
Here we fucking go. This guy, man.
That was diabolical.
Hold on. I'll say this, fellas. I don't want to see anything else like that again. Mr. Bennett and I super fans of boxing. I box still to this day. I grew up boxing, like actually boxing, like no kidding in the ring. Okay, but so you can imagine my respect for the sport. And Mr. Bennett, honestly, you and I were on the same page when I talked to you about it last night before the whole the fiasco. He was good for 3 rounds. And not bad for 58 years old. A 60-year-old man, not bad for it. But if all you do is smoke weed and chew mushrooms all day, I mean, you're not going to get in the ring and move the way you used to. But yeah, you were right. I'll say that full-throated here. Yeah, dude, I don't even feel good about what I saw. I don't. I should have taken the page out of your book and just skipped it all together. I didn't want to see that.
Hey, like I said, I think boxing fans, I think we need to deserve better. And like
We
I said,
do.
anytime, so as long as I'm in these spaces, anytime there's a major card that's coming up with some quality boxing on it, I'm always going to hype it up and,
Right,
and promote it and encourage people to support it. So,
and
but
Jake Paul,
yeah,
dude,
we don't
it's
need to
like,
see that again.
because remember, I agreed with you before. Any decent amateur would just annihilate that guy. He fought Tommy
Facts.
Fury, who's not even really an amateur. He's an
I think they only had
okay
like 8 fights
boxer.
or something like that.
Right, he's an okay boxer with only 8 fights, and he beat him. And he was toying with Jake Paul the whole time. He had his hands down to his waist the entire fight, and he just pieced up Jake Paul. And I was like, that was I went to my fight club the next session, and I talked to this guy, the other fighter. Said, "See, fellas, I told you, any halfway decent amateur would piece him up. He doesn't have the goods." And he's talking about going for a world title. Stop playing. Stop it, dude. He's talking about.
Well, one thing
Canelo
for
and all this
sure,
stuff.
look,
Like, no.
as much as I hate it, as one thing's for sure, he may actually jump the line simply because of the money. Money at the end of the day talks. And I was just reading before I got on tonight, 60 million people watched that fight. 60 million.
60 million got robbed that fight.
Well, yeah. Well, and the crazy thing, they could have went pay-per-view. I mean, I don't know why it wasn't even pay-per-view. They could have charged that, and you would have still got half of that still. Most pay-per-view for top boxing cards, a good night is $1 million. They could have got
Don't
easily
forget, Paul,
10 million
the
pay-per-view
whole-
buys and blew out most of these other
And the thing, there were so many people watching that fight that it actually strained the Netflix servers. The Netflix servers couldn't handle it, so a lot of
Right.
people had getting lag and stuff. I didn't have that.
People were,
I
People were
didn't
hitting
have,
me up all
I did.
last night. Where's it? I can't. People saying, please, people log off so I can watch the fight.
right. It all actually filled up their servers to a degree, man. And I was like, good Lord, all that's going on. But
Yeah.
I think people wanted to come out and see Tyson be Tyson again. But you got to understand, Tyson's style required him to be extremely athletic, like very, very, very athletic. The dash in, dash out. They had to be quick, the quick twitch muscles. But you talk about a guy who hasn't had a decent fight in 30 years. So you know what I mean? So it's like, and plus he's 60 now. It's like, no, you're not going to get that.
Yeah.
Why would you expect it? Now, here's the thing. Jake Paul did right by staying away from him, because in the beginning of the fight, when he tried to get in front of him and tried to exchange with him, those are the rounds that Mike won. He's not good. So he's still Mike Tyson if you're dumb enough to try to fight him.
Yeah.
You have to stay on the outside and just jab him all night.
Yeah.
You're still not gonna be hard pressed. You're still gonna be hard pressed to get in close if you're someone on the skill level of Jake Paul.
Absolutely.
You're gonna be hard pressed to get inside and try to win an exchange with him. That's incredibly stupid. But you know what I mean?
Well, we are talking about Jake Paul here, right? You know, he's not the smartest cat in the world.
He was smart. He was smart.
Like I said,
night.
anybody can look good on the pads or on the speed bag or whatnot. I mean, look, we can all, me and Mandrell, we can get on the speed bag right now. We can put on the show, but it's not the same thing as actually getting in true sparring and whatnot, and guys throwing bad intentions at you to hurt you. So, unless you show me he's doing that, I'm not buying the mitt work or the head movement or the heavy bag or whatever it is that he's on. Just like Bruce Lee said, boards don't hit back, and so it makes you can look real good.
Are you trying to say
until somebody's throwing back at you that you got to defend, it's a different story. But listen, guys, I'm out. I'll see you guys tomorrow night on the Gray Area Show, and certainly looking forward to the interview. So you guys have a great night.
All right, no problem.
So Mandrell, since you calling in, question is, who do you think can fit the criteria of the new NWO 2.0 if that were to be the case?
No one. That's something that should never happen.
Pretty much.
Hey, I thought it was a good topic.
But look, as far as my fantasy pick, just my fantasy pick, just to throw guys in together. Lord knows that this is not even ideal, but I only picked it based upon characters. So this is my idea of like quote unquote new wave NWO with a fourth member being particularly a female. This is just my idea. And this is coming straight out of NXT only. Because it has to be this one, because you have to do the invasion through that. You have to do it through that. I know. You're looking at it like, who in the heck are you gonna pick from this? Like I said, this is based upon characters and them going heel. The moment I say it, don't say nothing. You already know this is like crazy. But for me, as far as leader-wise, Ethan Page. See, I laugh at it. I love how you do it. I love when you do it. But oh well. Take it how you want to take it. Ethan Page would be my leader. As far as muscle, Josh Briggs. And as far as just the character, as far as the swagger element, this is, again, this may not be ideal to you, don't care. But that just fit the bill in a way. Eddie Thornton. And then for my female pick, Cora Jade. Done deal. I'm going to leave it right there.
Hey, what about the one black chick?
You really narrowed it down there, buddy.
So what now?
You really narrowed it down. I'm like, oh, what's that black chick's name?
Naomi. Did she ever marry the Uso dude?
She married Jimmy Uso.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So,
listen, for full disclosure, it's been probably a good 20 years since I sat down and watched a whole wrestling program like Monday Night Raw or something like that. So, yeah, I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. It's been about 20 years. But I still appreciate WWF because it would never be WWE. Fuck that organization who took the name from my company. Yes, I said my company. It doesn't belong to Vince McMahon. It belongs to me. Okay.
You technically say Vince McMahon's daddy's company, so yeah, okay.
No, Vince stole it from his father, and I stole it from him because it's mine. Because that's the company that I love. Okay, WWF.
Oh yeah, he stole it.
I'm old school from it, and I remember that. I know only reason why I know about Naomi and the Usos is because of that TV show, the reality TV show they did. I don't know if they still do it or not.
Don't remind me of that.
The one with the girls.
Yeah.
Total Divas.
What is it called?
Yeah, there you go.
Diva something, right?
Something like that. Oh, TJ, help me out here, man. It comes on Hulu.
It's Total Divas.
There you go.
It comes on Hulu? Okay.
Hulu, yeah.
Oh, yeah, actually.
It's sad you know that, DJ. That's what I'm going to say. That's pretty sad.
Yeah, I'm sitting here listening to TJ. He sounds like a fan, and that I can appreciate. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But he's got the belts behind him. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, I've always wanted one of those growing up as a kid, you know. But no, NWO, I remember that era. I was an avid, staunch wrestling fan during that era of WCW. By the way, incidentally, I loved the documentary on Vincent Mann on Netflix. Loved it. Fantastic. That was great. I thought he came off really well. I don't know what some people are so upset about. I thought he came off really well, Vincent Mann. But anyway, yeah, I say the NWO, I don't think it should happen again. You can't, that was lightning in a bottle. It really was grooming.
I agree with you.
Like you had Scott Hall and Kevin Nash who came over from WWF to WCW, right? And then when Hulk Hogan came out there and he turned heel, I remember that sick feeling in the pit of my stomach. I remember feeling that when Hulk Hogan went heel. And then loving him as a bad guy.
Yeah.
You can't redo that.
For you.
You can't redo that. I loved him as a bad guy. Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Stop playing, dude. Fantastic.
Oh, yeah, it was sick. It was sick.
Fantastic. It was fantastic. But I hated it when he turned heel. When he first turned heel, I was heartbroken. But loved him. He was hilarious. He'd come out each week, talk shit. He talk shit. Might we have a match for the main event, but then he win the match, so you couldn't shut his mouth up. It was hilarious.
And him man just say that. How you gonna equate that again? Remember, there's a factor to why it was so iconic. To do it again to 2.0, it kind of like,
Yeah, that was
you know
because
when
there
it
was a
what
competition between WWF and WCW. You know what I'm saying? Eric Bischoff had been taking a lot of wrestlers from WWF and mixing
see,
them in with his like he had Harlem Heat already there. He had a whole bunch of people still there. But then he brought the WWF wrestlers over to WCW and mixed them in, and then they did the NWO thing. Like David just said, there's a whole lot of stuff that went into what made NWO so popular and such a success. The only thing that held them back and made it go down was the writing. They just
there
it
you
seemed
go.
like they ran out of good
because who the
ideas
writer
for
was at the time?
storylines. Who?
Think about it.
Bischoff? Who,
Eric
Bischoff?
Bischoff. Yep.
Nope. After. Think
Vince
about it. He was
Russo.
WWE at one time.
Vince Russo.
Thank you. When Vince went over there, it was done.
It went downhill.
Downhill after that.
And this why I said the only people who could have recreate that type of idea, they left WWE and went to AEW. Now called the Her Syndicate. They all had gripe because you know why? WWE took their storyline and gave it to the bloodline and make it seem we don't need you no more. So they have authentic gripe. They say, you know what? Everyone, we hurting everybody. We taking the belt and we will enjoy hurting you. They fit the criteria. Real talk.
No,
Really?
I get what you're saying,
Let,
but
let,
no,
let me break it down. Number one, first candidate on the list, Bobby Lashley. When he came out to
that's
WWE,
obvious.
he was supposed to have the kind of match he supposed to have to be the main event match between who and who. Him and what? Brock Lesnar. Who screwed that shit up? Vince McMahon.
That's Vince for you.
And everyone will say this, even though they're they're almost similar between Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley, Bobby was a much better fighter than Brock Lesnar in an MMA kind of thing. He had a better record than Brock Lesnar. So that would have been a cool ass thing.
Yeah, the only problem is who was the champion.
I get it. I get what to say that. Number two, Shelton Benjamin, the most underrated wrestler who has so much talent, they keep pointing a cap on him. If you would have brought him back with that hurt thing and start hurting people, it would have been great. Yeah, MVP. Then bring back Shelton, Cedric Alexander, would have been great. He was a loose, that dude was a loose cannon, trying to hurt people. Like, it fit the criteria. Now they're trying to recruit Ricochet over there in AEW. He got to grab because they keep throwing him on the bus. Bring on those 4 or 5 people, let them come back to WWE and run shock on everybody. Say you start setting you up, start hurting you on purpose. You're not seeing it coming. That
But-
would have been great.
But see, here's where I say I disagree because remember what you were talking about here. We're talking about NWO. NWO is not really like, was the NWO's mission just to hurt, or was NWO was just to cause chaos?
Main mission was to hurt the rating for WWE. That was then they got shoved out to the back door. You was being told, "Oh, you out there? We don't need you no more." So, oh, you don't need it no more? Okay, we get a gold-plated middle finger. You see how you like that? So you come to WWE, you go run shock. We collect all the belt. We call the shot. All you other talent, y'all can kiss my shining platinum behind. You ain't getting shit. That's what we're doing.
Okay. So, but understand. But see, here's my point that I'm somewhat like trying to hit on because we're talking about just amongst WWE, not like it's WWE versus the next corporation.
But
Like that's the one part that we have to throw away.
I know,
out the other.
even though it's just between WWE, yeah, also ask the question, when NWO was first created, how were they created based with all of the factors that related to that? That's why I say they factor was uniquely masterful because you know why? They're getting shoved out from one promotion going to another promotion. Now to equate that for WWE, what similar issue that married the same way that they had back then? This what I was trying to point out. There was too much heat when NWO first cut. Because you know why? It was saying This guy, we made so much money for this dude. Now all of a sudden we freaking out there and you show up through the back door. You know what? We will come over here. We will run shit over here. We will run a month. You cause chaos, and you will hurt the rating. They hurt the rating for WWE for how many weeks straight? If you remember.
Hey, let's see. Based upon that gripe, though, this is why I saw more pick similar guys. Well, not similar, but similar notions that guys are facing.
Yeah, but even though you picked the notion, the similar issue is not the same.
Of course not. Again, what?
And when the issue is
not
not
gonna
the
get-
same, when the issue is not the same, and the weight is not there, it's like saying, let me take the NWO original weight and put it on the scale and put the new one. The old weight was flipped out through the window. Like you don't have that a real.
But you're not gonna get the weight of today, anyways. It's like
And that's
think
why
about
I
what
think-
you're saying. You're saying
I'm
the
not-
hurt
like I said,
business.
even though you can like get the weight today, the only one who have the weight somewhere close to that are Bobby Lashley, Texas and MVP, because you know why? They held no, hey, they were making money for WWE when they did that. It was popular.
It was
They had
popular,
fans.
granted.
They were granted were popular, but here's the thing: Vince didn't want that. Reason why? I will call it as I see it. It's not the right skin tone for it.
We all know that. But even without the skin tone, let's be real about it. The reason, I mean, this is the thing why I say I don't really like buy into hurt business being like quote unquote this day and age NWO, because you got Shelton and then you got who? You got I forgot the brother's name. But you got Shelton and you got that's not enough.
MVP, I know that way you need an actual one more person. I think before when they did WWE,
It's just not enough. Like MVP, I'm not worried about MVP. Like MVP, he's one of those extenders, so that's cool. But when you're talking about guys behind the main guy, those two are not enough. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like that's why I don't see them that way. Now, if you're talking about like doing what they doing, that's one thing. But overall, when you talk about okay, you keep going out there hurting people. Eventually, there's going to be guys enough that can hurt your guys. Those guys won't be enough long term. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not that much fathomable in that sense.
I don't.
I don't see them as the 2.0 NWO, the hurt business, but I would have subbed out Cedric Alexander for somebody else.
Like, even if you were to did
I think that WWE screwed the pooch with the hurt business because it was it kind of reminded me a little bit, and it's kind of different, but it kind of reminded me on how short Mark Henry's Hall of Pain run was. You know what I mean? They had caught gold and fire with Mark Henry's Hall of Pain, and they squashed it way before time. The hurt business was done the same way.
Bingo.
And they were great. I think I was tolerating Cedric Alexander. I didn't think he fit right alongside of Shelton Benjamin, because Shelton Benjamin is in a class by himself. Just his pedigree, his athleticism, his stature in the ring, and Shelton Benjamin is a big dude. And people forget how big Shelton is because he's so athletic and nimble. That's a big dude. He's not that much smaller than Bobby Lashley. If you actually watch them two, and Shelton is a thick, big dude. You put them two together. I've seen them in person. Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley are almost the same damn size. They really are.
See, here's the thing: people don't realize. Hang on, because I met a couple wrestlers myself in person. So when you meet them, like, okay, they're not be that tall. Like, holy fuck, you're fucking big, motherfucker. Like, they're bigger than you expected. I met Kevin Nash in person. I met Scott Hall in person. I met Christian, Sting, Shikishi. I can go on and on. These guys are big motherfuckers.
So who would have sub Alexander for who? Who would have fit that spot better than Cedric Alexander?
I can't recall who all was there at the time, but believe it or not, you know who was there? Swerve was there. He would have fit.
Yeah, he would have fit. Yeah.
No, but here's the problem: Swerve was with his own team, so he wouldn't fit.
We talking about WWE? That shit don't matter to them.
Well, yeah, true, but at the time he was with his own group.
Yeah. Well,
now, if you're talking about if he portrayed his group fine, yeah.
I'm just talking about who would have fit on the main. And Swerve was in NXT.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you who would have fit. They bring up people from NXT and split them up all the time. So I'm just talking about
the whole
I'm just
group
talking about
came
who
up
would have.
to the main
I'm just talking about
roster.
who would have fit. I'm separating out where they were at. I'm just saying who would have fit on that roster in that slot. Swerve would have been a better choice to pair with Shelton than Alexander.
You got a point.
So, guys, we're hitting almost a 3-hour mark. David, you want to give your final thoughts? Let's go around. We'll start with you, David, and go around.
Man, this is one of my favorite topic and the most intellectual topic because when you talk about the NWO, what they did was very iconic, but how it ended was very poor. To try to recreate that in the present time, that is a challenge of itself. Today's product is good. It got better this past Friday to the point where I start to wonder how long they gonna let this one last because this is like a sign for you know what? We're not gonna take over SmackDown. We're gonna just run buckshot for Monday Night Raw too. Screw y'all. Screw the managers. We do what we want. That's what it looked like. But I'm not gonna lie. They make you have to think more and more about not only the roster you have in WWE or through the franchise, but also what you can pull from outside as well. But there's a lot of great talent being grown right now. But it's taking the time to get the full potential. But this has been one of my favorite topics so far. I can admit that. That's my final thought.
Oh, I'm next. Okay, well,
Yep.
for my final thoughts, hey, look, thank you for letting me come up. Thank you, Davis, for sharing the stream at the time. I mean, as far as just the last question on the table, like who would fit in, like even before Swerve would have been an option, my other option would have been Apollo Crews. And the only reason why I say that is because Swerve, he had a different element that he was coming into WWE with, and I don't think so that fit with the Hurt Business image that they were selling. So it just wouldn't fit at that time, unless he was willing to change that image. But yeah, pick and choose. But other than that, man, look, hey man, thank you for letting me come up. Thank you for letting me have the conversation with you, and hopefully I'll be back if I'm able to. So yeah, thanks.
Brother, you're always welcome here, so you know that. I'll put you on the list, like we said in the back chat, so you're aware what shows we're doing from now on.
Yeah, okay, no problem.
That
man said, "Champ is here."
Brother, I love you to death without wearing that belt. I'm like, I might come over there and steal it from you.
Yeah. Specially made, boy. You see the Booker T on there?
Yeah.
Well, I wish I was here for the whole thing. I wish I would have caught it from the beginning because I'm a big wrestling nerd, so I would have loved to do it. Did you guys touch on what happened at the end of SmackDown with the Paul Heyman?
I did, yes.
Oh.
I touched a little bit of it, but I didn't say it in full context.
Yeah.
Full context.
So this is talking about an epic swerve to a bloodline storyline that's going to extend this out. So we shall see what happens. So this is always fun talking about the what ifs and the possibilities, especially with, how talent has been moving around over the last couple of years and what could happen. But this is always a good one. I'm glad we didn't do the let's recreate the NWO, but who would be the NWO 2.0? I think that's a good thing because it gives you more creative, makes you think creatively about. That's why I picked the current, new bloodline. And because you can't, like Mandrell said, you cannot recreate the NWO. It was absolutely lightning in the bottle. I think that the powers that be admitted that they were caught off guard about the popularity of the NWO and the fact that it grew like it grew. I don't think there was any intention for the NWO's membership to grow beyond Hall, Nash, and Hogan, but it just was such an epic, wave that's took over the wrestling business for 2 years. There was just no choice. No, but I understand why there's a group that loves the NWO, but I do too. They're the second greatest faction of all time. No faction will ever trump the Four Horsemen, ever, and no iteration of the Four Horsemen. They did it right the first time, and everybody else is just a carbon copy of them after that. So that's all I got on that.
Yeah, I agree with him. the Four Horsemen were the greatest team. Yeah, Arn Anderson, Ric Flair, yeah, several the other two, but um, yeah, Four Horsemen is number one. NWO is easily number two. But like I said, it's lightning. It was lightning in the bottle. I don't think anyone's gonna top that or you know doing it again. I don't know how they're gonna do it and make it good. I'm not sure. But yeah, good discussion. I've been listening to you guys. I've been enjoying the conversation, especially when TJ came up. He added a lot to it, and I agree with him. I wish he would have come in from the beginning. I would love to hear what he had to say from the beginning to the end. So same thing with Wally. Wally, you guys had a good conversation. I haven't watched wrestling in a long time, but yeah, um, yeah, you guys got me back into it. You actually got me excited. Listen to this conversation. But that was my 2 cents. Don't bring it back, please. Don't ruin the legacy and my fond memories of it.
Yeah, just like they did LWO, they ruined that record. They
Yeah,
ruined that legacy.
yeah. Leave well enough alone. Let it
So,
be what
guys,
it is. Because Degeneration X didn't come close to it. Wasn't even close. You know. And the other ones, I don't know what they're doing now since Vince isn't in charge of it anymore. But we'll see. I'm gonna start checking it out now. I am.
Right now,
so DJ, I got a question for you, my
bro.
man.
Vince
Yeah.
don't have no control over WWE anymore. It's now under Triple H.
Yeah.
You mean under TKO because MVP blame management?
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Okay, TJ. So you're
Yeah.
gonna be at Rumble.
Right.
You be ringside, right?
I'll be. I got seats on the aisle.
All right, good. So when you see one of the wrestlers, you're gonna grab them and tell them you need to come on a Sparta HQ network.
I'm gonna grab it.
Hey, yeah, plug it in. Plug it in.
Get my big ass tossed out in Indianapolis. Yeah, that's
Oh,
I see him getting carried by security. You'd be
Yo.
like, "Hey, I know that guy." A minute.
Hey, no, just bring a poster with you. Just bring a poster. Hey, can I get a wrestler to come to Pod?
Oh,
Yeah,
my
I
God.
Hey, I actually tried when I went to Comic Con. McFoley was gonna say yes, but the time didn't add up. But fun fact, the wrestler named the Doc is friends with Mick Foley. That's why he wanted to say yes, and that's my mom's doctor. So I had an inside there, but time didn't add up. So quick schedule update, guys, really fast. And we'll get the heck out of here. Where was I? So on Thursday, we're talking about raising kids in a unique world. Next, TJ, get ready for this. You might want to come to this one next week. Next Saturday at here, we're talking about the Vince McMahon Behind the Empire, the documentary. We're going to be going over the documentary. So I would definitely love to get you back on that. I already emailed you. I'm not sure that email I have is correct or not.
no. I got it. Yeah. Well,
All right, cool.
normally I work on Saturdays. I got cut tonight, so if they cut me next week, I'll be here.
All right, definitely cool.
Yeah, that documentary is real serious.
What's up, man?
Yeah, I think the documentary is real serious right there.
Yeah. And on next Thursday, we're gonna be talking about how long should you wait before you have sex with your girlfriend? Yes, I'm going there.
Oh, Lord.
And Saturday after that, we're gonna be talking about David's favorite topic, the Transformer universe. Yep, I'm doing it. All right. You guys
Lord
anything
help
else
me.
to say before we go?
Michael Bay, you own us. You destroyed 7 different movies, which don't make no goddamn sense. Shouldn't be no Transform movie, period. Okay?
Because I said that. All right, guys. As always, this was the Sparta HQ Nerdquart. I am Ghost of Sparta. These are my guys. As always, stay fresh, stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.